What's up, Amy? Okay. We are posted. We are posted in the socials is actually on time today. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Oh, crazy. We all go a little crazy sometimes. How's it going? Hello, hello. Sup? And all that. I mean, the title's pretty self-explanatory today. We are very simply going to take a look at some scattered videos that I've pulled up. I took the time to do stuff, you know. I got ready for the stream. Woo! All right, let's see if now I think I was supposed to have like done the right thing on YouTube where it shows like now it should actually show the stuff that I'm supposed to show. It doesn't come up as just a black screen. Yes. So I did some researching on videos that I think would be fun to engage with and just kind of react to and look at and be like, hey, what'd that be doing there? You know? Hey, why'd that be like that? What'd that be doing there and why that be like that? You know? It's taking a critical look at some stuff. All right? That's what we'll be doing today. Taking a critical look. And the burning question, the burning in hell question I have is, what's more evil? Christianity or tarot? If you want a free tarot reading, no charge ever, because magic doesn't exist. I do tarot for myself. Tarot is not magic. It is a tool. But what's more evil? If you consider tarot demonic, if you're anti-witchcraft, you know, probably you probably are if you're Christian. Then tell me why. You know, let's explore that. Let's talk about it. Let's have a freewheeling discussion about God and tarot, and yeah, just let me know if you wanted tarot reading, and we'll do a card pull and shit like that. We'll do the thing, and we'll do the thing and the thing, and then we'll show you, you know. I don't have my other camera set up. Normally I have another camera where you can actually see the artwork a lot better. But I did not want to set up that tripod today, so instead of appreciating the beauty of the deck, what we'll be doing is just using the deck. So, feel free to have any kind of open discussion about... Gosh darn. We have an air stagnation warning in our area, which it is. I didn't know that it would be something that you could actually like experience firsthand, and that it would actually be, you know, crappy, that it would suck. But no, oh no, it sucks. Oh, it sucks. So yeah, let me. I'm gonna get my daily bread ready. if you will. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to put on this video, and we're going to see if if Impact Video Ministries can convince us that God exists. Well, I agree with your POV as an atheist. Well, you're among friends. We'll see if proof exists that God exists in 3 simple arguments. Let us watch, shall we? And just because the video is 17 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and increase the speed here.
The question of whether or not God exists is a common question that many people ask, and the existence of God is one that is heavily debated between believers in a higher power and skeptics and atheists. And many times people who don't believe in God will ask for hard evidence for his existence, and they'll challenge Christians and tell them, show me proof and I'll believe. And to be honest, Christians can't give hard evidence that God does exist. However, just because
it should stop there. It really should just stop there. That's it. Christians can't prove that God exists. There you go.
Believers can't show God physically, it doesn't mean there aren't any good reasons to believe in God. So in this...
Oh, I get it. So you're throwing the entire premise out the window in the first 30 seconds. As of moment 31, they've completely destroyed their own argument. God exists. Oh wait, we can't prove that. But there are plenty of reasons to believe in him. Adjust! Now that's a demon I'd like to exorcise, the demon that lives in my webcam. Now that is a demon worth exorcising. Out, damn demon! Tell me your name! Beelzebub! Well, yeah, they're supposed to have faith, and that's supposed to bridge the gap between real and not real. And somehow magic isn't okay? Like, what? Wouldn't you rather be Merlin? Wouldn't you rather be shooting lightning bolts out of your fingertips? I would.
Video, I want to cover 3 reasons why people can believe in God. However, I should mention that these arguments should not be abused.
See what I mean? Like, now we're not talking about proof that God exists. Now we're just saying that, well, we can't prove he exists, but here's why you should believe in him.
Many people can enter into a debate of sorts and have the mentality to win and will refuse to listen to the other person and will only look for moments to make the other person look stupid for their lack of knowledge.
Well, no, that's not why people debate on this topic. Typically, the people who debate on this topic with any kind of regularity, including myself, have a hard history with religion. And it's because there's some trauma that exists back then. You know, perhaps it was a thing that your parents did, or a thing that your parents wouldn't do, or support you had, or that you didn't have. Whatever the reason, usually what gets people to start questioning their beliefs is when trauma happens. And, you know, because people don't complain when things are going well, right? People, they complain about little things. They complain about their first world problems and stuff. But when things are going well in society, people typically, you know, they don't raise a fuss. And yeah, I don't know. It's because there was something wrong. It's because there was something that damaged them, or that hurt them, or affected them in such a way that they started questioning their beliefs. And it starts as a process. It isn't just someone saying all of the sudden one day, I don't believe in God. That's not, first of all, that's not how atheists happen. Atheism is a lack of belief. It means that you don't believe anything. It means I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven or hell. I don't believe that there was a thing that created the universe. I don't know what created the universe. I can be agnostic on that, but I can be pretty fucking certain that it doesn't take a creator. It doesn't require that there be somebody there clicking their fingers, right? And yeah, I mean, Amy, you said it right. It's a process. It starts with a spark, right? And that could be some horrible trauma, like maybe you were abused by your pastor. That happens a lot. Maybe you were kicked out of your home by your family, which happens in Mormon communities. You know, shunning, that's a thing. You know, if you encountered some kind of trauma and it made you question your existence and it made you question what you believe, then that would be where it starts. And it's a long process. You got to go through a lot of introspection. Sometimes it takes therapy. Especially with the more insular or like cultish religions, it takes a lot of deconditioning, I guess you could say. So therapy to specifically target the areas of like where you were basically broken down in the first place to rebuild you back up. And even then, I've seen it in a lot of like, ex-Mormons or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, people who cannot adjust to reality in any quantifiable way after they deconstruct. It is sad to see. That kind of generational brainwashing is darn near impossible to get rid of. So, it's my hope that, and hey guys on YouTube, just the reason I turned on the subs only, you only have to be sub for like 0 seconds. So if you want to chat, just click the sub button, because I gotta have that engagement. So I would love to have an open discussion, but I did turn on subscribers only, but there's no time requirement. So it's not going to make you sub for like 5 minutes before you can type something. Just sub and type. I got to get that engagement, Got to get them tasty subbies, right? And it kind of limits the random chatter from people who just want to dip in an insult. I don't mind the insults. It's engagement. I'm sacrificing that, to form a more structured thing here, but I want a contribution. I want a pushback to an idea and not just pushback. You know what I mean? We had that person in here yesterday who was just like, saying they hate random things, like just first saying I was a liar and a hypocrite, and then saying like random things that they hate. It was weird. I just want to avoid things like that going forward. It was strange. I mean, that's
right. I know many people will watch.
That's what you get with the shorts feed. I've seen that. I can accept that, but let's try to limit the chaos a little bit.
This video with the mentality to prove all these reasons for God's existence wrong, and they'll show it in the comments.
So yeah, no, it's not just because they're knee jerking when people try to debate on these topics, especially the more well known, like people on the line and people like Matt Dillahunty, who's been doing it for decades and decades. Alex O'Connor, they do it because it is the right thing to do. And you can believe what you want. You can believe in God if you want. You can do all that stuff. But there's also got to be a balance. There's got to be an equal number of people who are offering support without religion, who are offering community without religion, who are offering the parts of community that exist outside of the scope of religion, or that should exist outside the scope of religion. Like the debate over abortion. I think two groups of religious people would have an entirely different opinion on it, as opposed to a group of secular people and a group of religious people, because the typical argument against abortion only stems from religion. Typical. And that's not to say that there aren't secular arguments against abortion. It's just that the majority of arguments against abortion tend to be religious in nature. So yeah, it's just to make people aware. It's to offer a balance. It's to offer a counter. It's to offer a foil. It is to make sure that there are that there's balance in community and in reality and society and all that kind of stuff. And that's important. Everything's supposed to have a good balance.
And that's honestly fine. But know that if you're a Christian, know that these 3 arguments that I'm about to cover are meant to promote discussion and to get people to consider that God may actually exist. So should you use them, be humble about it. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching our videos. And if you haven't already, please...
So that entire premise had very little to do with proving that God was real. The entire premise was more so, here, we're going to offer you some information about why you should believe in God in the environment of how people tend to argue about it these days. And this is it dovetails a little bit with what I was saying a few streams ago, how I truly believe that in the modern day of churches, and perhaps I should go and actually look myself and go and sit in on some sermons. I actually used to sit in. My mom worked for the Salvation Army for many decades, and I was a kid that did not like to just sit at home and do nothing. So I came to work with her a lot of the time when I was on summer break and stuff like that. And I'd sit in on the sermons, and I'd sit in at mass on Sundays and just listen to what was going on. And it made me really interested in religion. So I started reading a lot of books about I read books on books of the Bible, and then I read the Bible fuck. I've read War and Peace, or was it War and Peace? Crime and Punishment. I've read Crime and Punishment, and the Bible was a harder read. I've read Notes from the Underground, and the Bible was a harder read. And like that's totally taking out the idea of scholarly documents, because I don't mind reading science books. I don't mind reading textbooks. That's all fine. Whatever. I actually don't have a problem with any of those. Dostoevsky's hard, and the Bible was more difficult. And I think over those hundreds of years of revisions and reinterpretations, you kind of have to weave in a little bit of contradiction to get that sort of like Kang the Conqueror loop, you know, like how you can go back in time and like make sure that you ensure your own existence kind of thing. And so I think the people that revised and reinterpreted all the books of the Bible went through and they kind of like did those revisions that ensure Kang's survival. That's my guess. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but you never know. I mean, if people are going to try and pass something off as the be-all, end-all for science, medicine, how you should live your life, how you should conduct yourself in terms of societal things like slavery, human trafficking, the Bible supports slavery, you know, all those things, if you're going to write something like that, you probably don't have humanity's best interest in mind, unless it's sort of like to your own perception. It's like you're that guy from The Watchmen who you're like, oh, I'm the one that's going to fix society with a giant octopus. There you go. I've already done it. Congratulations, you lost. So let's get through the sponsorship.
Argument number 1, the creation argument. This argument is also known as the cosmological argument. And while I could go through the argument in detail, where I go through each premise, I think it's better to explain it in a way that you can use it in a conversation. And if that doesn't make any sense
Against people in a debate, is what he's saying.
to you, that's fine. All you need to know is that I'm going to break down this argument simply.
Hang on real quick. I want to see if I can click off the face cam here, and if it clicks it off
I think it's better to explain it in a way that you can use it in a
on the vertical video.
Against people in a debate.
Because I linked them, but I don't know if it works that way. Just give me 1 second.
Hang on real quick. I want to see if I can click off the face cam here, and if
It doesn't. I had to watch the stream for a second. So see, like, it's weird. You can do the things on OBS, but it has to take a moment to, like, it has to sync with the Stream Elements canvas. It's so weird. I figured it out. I finally made it work. That's why I was actually streaming on time today, as opposed to having to... Don't look at me like that. My dog's looking at me like she wants food. Rather than take half an hour on stream to actually try to fix the problem. We did it! Yay! Alright, I'm going to smash this bowl real quick. I got a big bulk container thing of matches so that I can light my torch whenever I need to. Oh, man. I guess I could just get a new igniter. These things are like $50 though. Fuck. That's expensive. Alright, let me play this, and I will be back with you when I have smashed this bowl. Go ahead and listen to these arguments.
Because you don't really need to know the premises unless you're in an actual debate. So the creation argument essentially states that everything that begins to exist must have a reason for its existence. So since that's the case, we as people should also have a reason for our existence. So this is the way it works. Everything that we see has a cause for its existence. For example, we can look at...
Well, I can head that one off at the pass. You don't have to have a reason for anything. Nobody has to have a reason. I mean, scholars and philosophers, you can all try to figure that out, but you don't require an answer for anything. We don't need to know why we're here or what we're here to do. We just need to go and do good things and try to be good people. That's it. That's all it is. You don't need religion to guide you. You start out naked and afraid, and you're born without religion. You're born without a religious bone in your body, and it takes conditioning to get to a place of religion. So, I don't know. You don't need a start to anything.
The building, and we can safely assume that there were architects and construction
No,
workers.
see, it's the watchmaker argument.
Artists, dishes come from chefs, and forests come from
Jesus
seeds,
Christ.
and mountains come from the Earth's tectonic plates moving. So the idea
Dishes don't come from chefs. Dishes come from purveyors, from designers, from potters, from every single step in that chain. Don't reduce people! to just single things. And plus, you know, the paint's got to come from somewhere. Not just the painting. The paint's got to come from somewhere. The canvas has to come from somewhere. The muslin that goes into the canvas, the wood that goes around the frame of the canvas, that all has to come from somewhere. A crafter makes that. Why aren't you giving them credit? You meanie.
Chefs and forests come from seeds, and
All
mountains
right,
come from
cheers.
the
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
moving. So the idea is that all that we see needed to have some kind of cause, and our universe isn't any different. According to science, our universe is expanding. And if it's continuously expanding, then if we were to rewind time, there had to have been a point in which everything started. So the question is, how did everything begin? And the answer to this question is still a mystery in science, because we obviously can't go back and observe how life actually began. So the creation argument pretty much states that because things exist, things like the universe and its galaxies, stars, and planets, and the Earth with its land, seas, and people, then something or someone had to be responsible for its existence. And while people may argue and say, well, maybe the universe was just always here, to that, I'd say that the universe expanding is proof that our universe isn't infinite, because it all had to start at a single point in history. Because from what we know and observe from the universe...
Again, I hate that I have to keep saying this, like, to all these sort of seemingly different arguments, but just because something happened a way that's different than what scientists might predict, like, it could be fucking unicorn farts. You don't know. It could be anything. It's not a god. It doesn't have to be a god. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't have to be any one thing. It could be a series of different things. It doesn't have to be this or that, black or white, nothing. It can be pretty much anything. And I'm not saying, like, it can be because I want it to be. I'm saying it can be because there's so many things between nothing and God. There are so many things. Like, why would you just assume, oh, well, must be God? That takes a very, very specific set of lifestyle, like, a very specific dogma that you follow that would lead you to that conclusion. Religion's man-made. Magic's not real. Sorry, I'm cleaning out my glass piece. Give me a sec. All right. And I'm going to change the title real quick to be a little less about tarot, because since I don't have the other camera set up, I'm still willing to do tarot, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, can you prove God is real? There we go. Free tarot reading is in the parentheses. Who's ever going to ask about that? God. Christianity. There you go. Maybe get some of the God Squad involved. If we can. And I will toin back on this face cam. Shablow! And again, here, Shablow! We did it! Congratulations, everybody. We made it. Alright, fine, fudge it. I'll turn off the subscriber only. Just to get people talking. If I can figure out how to do that from this area. Anyone, there we go. I did it! Yeah! Yeah! Guys, it's not even close to 10. I feed them at 10. It's not even close to 10 o'clock yet. And I was even going to wait a little bit, you know? Sometimes you got to make the pups wait. So I'm trying to find the right way to arrange these windows here. All right. Why do I keep putting the mic up so high?
That's the most logical conclusion we can come to. So if the universe and everything in it seems to have needed a cause or reason to exist, then God, or some higher power, seems to be the only explanation that makes sense. And I know some people will say, you Christians look at the unknown and turn off your minds and credit the unknown to God. At least
Right.
scientists are out there observing and trying to figure everything out. You know, back when I was in college,
I
I
mean,
sat in one of my friend's classes, and
they
JP
kinda
Moreland
are,
was
I
the
guess.
professor, and he taught his class something interesting. And he stated that the origin of the universe is outside the realm of science. And the reason why is because science is based on the scientific method, or in other words, it relies solely on us making observations of the world around us. So due to the fact that time, space, and matter all began at a single point in time, a point in time that no one can go back and observe,
We don't know that.
science then cannot answer the question of how the universe began.
But you're set. See, that's is that straw man? Is that what happens when you do a straw man? You're setting up arguments that people aren't making. Like you're forming these arguments, and then you're debunking them. Nobody's saying that. I don't think. I think most scientists say that we don't know where the universe came from. That it didn't just come from a single point. I don't know many scientists who would say that. And how long ago was this? 10 months. So might be out of
Moreland,
touch.
the
I don't know.
professor, then asserted that the question of how the universe began should
And I love these. Is this appeal to authority? I'm pretty sure. When you like you say someone's name like they have any kind of impact on anything, you know, like Moreland, the professor. Who the fuck is this guy? I don't give a shit who this guy is. He's no authority on anything. Even if he wrote a bunch of books, even if he had the Nobel Peace Prize, I don't have to just trust one person. I trust a collective of evidence. You look at it's called the preponderance of evidence. You take a look at all the different things that fit the entire picture, and then you say, okay, does this look like a complete thing? Can it be tested? Is it testable? Is it observable? Yada yada, etc., etc., etc. And no, like this whole thing, where are you on this? You're still
actually
making the
be answered
argument,
in the
okay?
realm of philosophy, not science. And I thought that was interesting. For me personally, if someone were to tell me, you're just turning off your mind and crediting the unknown to God, I'd respond, I'm not turning off my mind. I just think that a higher power that is greater than time, space, and matter can only be responsible for creating the universe that we observe today.
But how do you get there? How do you get to that conclusion? There's no predisposition that would lead you to that? Say your parents might not have been either religious to bring you on that path with them, or the anti that to force you away into that. Like, how'd you come to that conclusion? I don't know why there has to be one beginning. Maybe there are several beginnings, or maybe things are always just in existence. Yeah, I know. That's like, it doesn't have to just be one thing. It doesn't have to be a single point. It doesn't have to be, it can be like multiple realities. It can be like a bunch of like, I don't know, ducks jumped off a pier and into a babbling brook, and the water droplet that flew up from that had exactly the right time, exactly the right place in space, that it created a little universe, and that's where we are, and that's exactly where all of our time is happening, and the end of time will be when that droplet falls back into the water and into the greater big universe puddle of the babbling brook. We don't know. We can't determine that. We put everything into a mold because of the limit of our understanding. Yeah. Well, I think it's comforting. It's comforting to people to know with every fiber of their being that something happened a certain way. And just it's comforting. And when we get out, you know this, we get out of our comfort zone, we get uncomfortable, and we want to regress back into the comfort zone. So we do whatever we can, we justify whatever we need to.
Do you have a better explanation on why everything exists today? Because if you do, then I'd love to listen, and I'm willing to learn. So if you're watching this and you're someone who does not believe in God, I challenge you and ask, how do you think we all came to exist? Because I think
First and foremost, generally in my everyday life, I don't fucking care. But I will toss that to the side, and I'll say that we're having a conversation about it. We've gone on to the topic of religion somehow. I'm at a bar, I'm trying to enjoy myself, and you've turned to me with your light non-alcoholic beer, and you've said, "How do you think we all got here if it wasn't God?" And so, how did we all come to exist? I don't know. My guess is that there was eons and eons and eons and eons and eons ago, unfathomable amounts of time ago, or into the future, or whatever, outside of time, outside of my conceivable perception of reality, some conflux, some amalgamation of things came together and developed the perfect conditions for the universe to form. I can't begin to know. what the basis for that is. I can't begin to know what the circumstances were or any of the specifics, but all I know is that what we've determined so far as a human race on Earth is that the universe somehow is expanding, and in between then and now, the Earth formed and life formed on Earth, and that's it. Humans inherited the Earth, and here we are. You're right. It's more comfortable for religious folks to put faith in God instead of saying I don't. Well, that is what one of the things that I want to sort of cover or talk about with religious people is the idea of exploitation, the idea of going specifically for people in weakened states or more vulnerable states. Like the 12 steps is a pretty good example of that. You've got, and chaplains in jails. Like, you're supposed to be a separation of church and state, but jails are owned privately, first of all, and second of all, you also have, because they do contracts with the government, and that doesn't mean that they're a government entity. And so you still have the option to do something that isn't necessary. It's you're trying to respect the inmates' religions, and that's where chaplains come from. So you have Christians incorporating themselves into institutions like the 12 steps, Alcoholics Anonymous, Mothers Against Drug Driving was a huge lobbyist group back in the 80s. They got several laws changed. Yeah, these religious organizations, they try to stay sort of on the outsides of institutions, but they work their way in, and it's all I don't know. I was going somewhere with it feels it's defensive and it feels exploitative because it's comfy, because it's you yes, sorry. I'm there again. So imagine that you've gone to jail, right? You've got a DUI, you're a functioning alcoholic, and they've determined that you're going to spend a week in jail. You go to county, and you sit there, and a chaplain comes in each day and asks if anyone wants to do Alcoholics Anonymous. And so, as part of your diversion, you can do that, which again sends you right into religion. Whatever. That's more of a conspiracy theory. But so you go to the chaplain, you sit in on Alcoholics Anonymous, and they convince you to stick with the program. And so you do the 12 steps. And the 12 steps kind of, I mean, they're religious. They're straight up religious. But they put you into this position where you're now curious about religion. You're basically being saved by a higher power. I think some programs actually say God, but some just say a higher power. But you're being saved by a higher power, and nobody but this higher power could have helped you overcome your drinking demons. And so to you, that's safety. To you, that's support. To you, that's someone that looked at you and had faith in you and wanted you to do better. But is it exploitative? Do people have the strongest wills when they're in the worst point in their lives? Same thing with suicide hotlines, ran by religious organizations. Was it there are church-based LGBTQ organizations. There are church-based trans organizations, and I can betcha most of them are not going to be encouraging them to stay LGBTQ or encouraging them to stay trans. So, is it exploitative? Is it manipulative? Maybe in most cases not, if I'm being generous, but I haven't known any church really, to be wholly good or wholesome or beyond reproach. Everyone's got kind of some skeletons in their closet so far, whether they're embezzling money or taking advantage of people at the lowest point in their lives. And that's why we're here, and that's why we do this, and that's why people become atheists. Because they recognize that those institutions are predatory, for lack of a better word.
There needs to be some explanation on why we all exist. For two,
Go to your next
the design
argument. Goddamn.
This argument is also known as the teleological argument. And in the same way that I skipped explaining the premises for the creation argument, I'll also skip that here. Because the goal for this video isn't to prepare debaters, but to help Christians understand these arguments so that they can better be used in a conversation. So this argument pretty much states that...
How are you differentiating the two? To me, it sounds like when you're setting these up, these people are having debates with people who are not religious. So how are you differentiating the two scenarios? You're interrupting my beer and talking to me at the bar about God, or we're having a structured debate. One of which makes you the asshole.
Complex and intelligent design must come from an intelligent mind or designer. So let's look at the complexity of people.
Why does that
And I
have
cover
to
this
be
in our
true?
Is There Really a God video. And in it, I talk about how within a single person,
Why is that
they
even
have
an
a
argument?
cardiovascular system, an endocrine system, a digestive, respiratory, excretory, lymphatic, nervous, muscular, and skeletal system. And on top of that, according to the National Institute of General Medical Sciences, the DNA from one of our cells is 6 feet long. So if we were to uncoil all of the DNA...
I can answer this before you go any further. Who gives a shit? Like, watch. Here's the easy answer to this video.
Argument number 1, the creation argument. This argument is also known as the cosmological argument. And while I could go through the argument in detail,
Oh my God,
or I
just
go
say it
through
already.
each premise, I think it's better to explain it in a way that you can use it in a conversation. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, that's fine. All you need to know is that I'm going to break down this argument simply because you don't really need to know the premises unless you're in an actual debate. So the creation argument essentially states that everything that begins to exist must have a reason for its existence.
I don't agree with that. I don't believe that everything that exists must have a reason for its existence. I don't believe that. I have the lack of that belief.
The design argument. This argument is also known as the teleological argument. And in the same way that I skipped explaining the premises for the creation, understand these arguments so that they can better states that complex and intelligent design must come from an intelligent mind or designer. So let's...
I don't believe that. Do you see what I mean? Do you see how easy it is? I don't believe those things. I wouldn't make those arguments. So, I mean,
and
move
that
on.
area was untouched, and nature just had its way for billions of years, a working laptop would not be the result. Yet many people who believe in evolution use this line of reasoning for people, and they'll...
What? But you're discounting the existence of humans with free will and hands that use tools and societies that need to be built. So yes, it very much would. We are not divine beings. We don't like exist on some higher plane than animals. Like we had to come up through the whole chain of like we started like as little fish monsters and we got eaten by things. And then we got eaten by less things when we evolved into a fish monster with legs. And then when we became a fish monster with hands and legs, we were eaten by less things. And as we grew more and more and more, we were eaten by less and less and less things. And so we had to navigate the entire food chain all the way up to modern society. And that means that we have been fully ingrained in nature the entire time. Even if you believe in Adam and Eve and all that shit, we still have thousands of years, 6,000 approximately, that we had to be incorporated into nature and like all this kind of stuff. Like that, we don't exist on some separate plane from the rest of the world. That's just a weird take.
I'll suggest that the building blocks for people were in an area, and over time, in organism form...
No! This is not what people think. Small changes over vast amounts of time, generationally, microscopically small differences. That's it. A simple mutation of the genes. One small thing in a giant bucket.
Formed, and from that, it kept evolving until we got to people. And I do want to add that I do find a lot of credibility in evolution within a species. Like Darwin's finches, for example. Finches do evolve over time, but they don't become anything other than birds. And we do have wolves that mate with lesser violent canines. And evolution...
We don't know how that's going to look in billions of years. We just don't. We can't know because of mass extinction events halting the evolutionary progress of many millions of species. Like, if you see one of those fucking nightmare fuel pictures of how things looked on any given day in the Precambrian era, it's a mass of tentacles and pinchers and carapaces. It's fucking scary. And, like, shit evolved. Like, it's so easy to see that if something started as crab, it then moved to spider, then to squirrel, then to aardvark? Doesn't matter. Billions of years can make something like that completely different because of literally the area that they live in and the influences on their environment. Very simple. Crows are starting to use tools, y'all. They're starting to use tools. Dogs, wild dogs, are starting to use tools. Now, they're not going to start walking on their hinders anytime soon. They're not going to start speaking English. But tool use is one of the first signs of evolutionary sentience. So, in a couple million years, who knows? And to get high on. And they use it to get high on their venom sacs. They go and they suck on their sacs. And they get friggin' wasted. They get friggin' frigged. They get frigged to the dome with puffer juice. Puffer fish juice. Puffer fish juice. So yeah, I mean,
can create a bunch of different types of dogs. However, they stay dogs. It's evolution that...
But you're... All the different breeds? Doesn't seem like divergence to you?
turns species into other species, like fishes turning into birds and birds turning into...
Right. Not in one generation. In several hundreds of generations, after several hundreds of offshoots, after several hundreds of adaptations, maybe. But it's unlikely that a fish is going to grow wings. You have, like, some pretty common base types. It's like, you know, that game Spore, you know, where you start as, like, a little blob with, like, little wigglies, and, you know, like, that it shoots off. Like, you have, or you have, like, you know, like, it's, or, right? I think I'm good at communicating.
Dogs that I would disagree with. And the reason why...
Stupid
is
mouse
because in
pad.
the fossil record, I don't recall
keeps
seeing
flipping
much
up
of
on
any
me.
transitional species that were in the middle of evolving. So going back to the argument of design, complex and intelligent design requires a complex designer. So when you look at the complexity of people and all that makes up a single person...
If you call it design, sure. I mean, you don't have... You can say that we're pretty complex as living things go. There's a lot of complex processes that happen inside of us just for us to wave our hand or something, you know? That doesn't require someone to have created that. I mean, you can see my growth from when I'm a bebe to when I'm a grown man. There's no one that's like stimulating that. No one's saying like, all right, well, your skin is about 36 centimeters around your neck today. I'm going to increase that by 3 since it looks like it's about that time. All right. And then as you get older, the person with the magical iPad shrinks your bones. That's what happens. You shrink as you get older. I'm still 6'3" though. Although I fluctuate between 6'3" and 6'4". I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe it's just because they measure me like they're just really like casual about it. But that distinction is important to people. All right? You get more respect the higher off the ground your brain is, because people have to look up at your brain. It's important. It's good brain posture. It's good posture for looking at brains.
This kind of complexity had to have come from some higher power. So if you're someone that doesn't believe in God and you think that evolution makes more
Possibly.
sense and that people did evolve,
Sure.
I
mean,
challenge you
I
to
can
think of a
accept
time
that.
when life can come from non-life. Or in other words,
I
if
fluctuate.
evolution did
I go
start
between
everything and the world started with a bunch of non-living things that people ultimately
altitudes.
evolved from, can you think of another time when life was able to emerge from something that wasn't alive? Because if that's not the case, then where did life begin? You could say you just don't know, but I think that the most logical explanation is life coming from some originator of life. And
You're right. You can just say that you don't know, and that should be the end of the discussion. I don't know. Okay, but if you had to guess, what would it be? I don't know. Okay, but if you really had to guess, gun to your head, do you have a gun? I'm just saying. Pick one, or you die. You don't have to believe. If you had to write a fantasy novel, what would you want it to be? Is that a non sequitur, or does it have to do with what we're talking about? I don't think it wouldn't look like the Bible, I can tell you that much. There'd be a lot less slavery and genocide.
And I would call this
Oh, gotcha. Okay, like
the
so
originator of life, God.
you're framing the
And world
question
started with a bunch
in
of
a way
non-living
that
things that people
makes
ultimately
sense,
evolved from,
as opposed to
and we
what
think
this
of a time
person's
when
doing.
Life was able to emerge from something that wasn't alive. Because if that's not the case, then where did life begin? You could say you just don't know, but I think that the most logical explanation is life coming from some originator of life. And I would call this originator of life God. And if you're a Christian and you're wondering how you can use this argument in a conversation, I would encourage you to ask a lot of questions on what's.
So my thing, what I like if I'm thinking of like if I want to make a fiction, a universe that I like to create sometimes in my head when I'm coming up with stories, is that it all came off the back of like some inconceivably massive living thing, like that, you know, there was like some, I don't know, a skin flake or a hair follicle or something came off and like formed the universe, you know. I don't know. I think that's a fun thought, but it sets up a lot of like sort of universally evolutionary offshoots to multiverses and all the stuff in the cosmos, and it's a good story starter. I have like a zombie universe where I've written some stories that are about like zombie apocalypses, and the beginning of the universe is a giant thing, you could call it like a cosmic entity or something like that. And that's where all that began, and it just made its way into modern time. Pretty cool. Maybe I'll share it one day. Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll get it published or something, you know? Who knows?
Someone believes regarding the complexity
If I get
of
around to
life.
finishing
And
it.
I'd say something along the lines of, people are incredibly complex. Where do you think we came from, and how do you think life started? In my personal podcast, Practical Christianity, I interviewed my friend who works as a chemist.
Nice personal plug there. It's good that you're not only making a video of yourself to flog yourself, but you're flogging yourself on your podcast as well.
And
It's
I
fine.
asked him what his view on evolution was.
Gotta get your voice
and he
out
told
there.
me that as a chemist, he works hard to make sure that the chemicals he creates all have the correct measurements. So if his chemicals and complex compounds that he makes all require intelligence, he thinks that since the world and people have so much more complexity than the chemicals he makes, it only makes sense that.
Right, but how do you think we found those chemical compounds? How do you think we formed those things in all the chemistry? How'd we come up with fucking aspirin? Aspergillus. It's a very, very fun story. I would look at it if I were you, Impact Video Ministries. Jesus. It came from mold. Mold, like that. It was what, on spelt or grain or something like that? And it was just like you had to eat it, and you were having what, a headache from like famine, or a headache from like not eating, from hunger pains or something like that. And so you eat the tainted spelt with all the aspergillus mold on it, and you're like, my headache's better. Oh my god, this didn't happen when I ate a potato raw, and then a bunch of tomatoes, and then the stems that the tomatoes were on. I feel really wonky for some reason. Let's dance. That's a Nightshade joke. That's right. It's a little bit of a cut, a little bit of a witchy cut. Witchy. 10 of Cups. I don't know what the 10 of Cups mean. I have yet to memorize the significance of the card. So I just look at how pretty they are. Like there's the 7 of Swords. That's real pretty. Sort of like an airbrushed lithograph. That's right. Yeah, he's got fancy artwork. You got God. Oof.
A mind of greater intelligence
I
is
do.
responsible for creating it. And argument number 3.
But I didn't
the
want to
moral
have to
argument.
like look at
This
it right
argument
now.
pretty much states that because people have universal laws that they all abide by, it's evidence of God, because he had to give people these laws. To explain it more,
What on earth? So again, he's setting up an argument that nobody's making.
argument number 3. The moral argument. This argument pretty much states that because people have universal laws that
Because people have universal laws.
they all abide by, it's evidence of God, because he had to give people these laws.
I'm sorry. Because people have universal laws. No. What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean? So why don't we kill? Why did we learn as a primitive species that killing was not okay? Because when you form together as nomadic tribes and you start to develop bonds as a society, you spend more time with companions, mates, social groups. And so when you lose, and we can even go back to why social bonds are important in the first place, it's because those are the people that you hunt with. Those are the people that you gather with. Those are the people that you sleep next to, who protect you, yada, yada, yada. It takes a village. So the social imperative to those bonds, that when we form them, is to keep each other around, keep each other alive, keep each other healthy. And when something disrupts that, like when one of our friends or our companion, our mate or whatever dies, then that is a swift cutoff to that bond, and the gap that you feel is the grief, anguish, that kind of stuff. And so the social imperative becomes that you must keep each other alive and keep each other safe. And so that's why death within tribes is not okay, because you have to stay alive, you have to stay healthy, society has to stay balanced, yada, yada, yada. That's a thing that people call morality, but it's a survival imperative. The person that kills his fellow hunter may end up with meat, but the village will shun him, and he will then be on his own. Lone wolves, they're not part of society. Lone wolves are not part of civilization. So therefore, it becomes an imperative. That's why civilization formed in the first place. Renee, instead of just saying please, why don't you say something with it that has substance? And then maybe people would take you seriously. I assume there's an opinion about God attached to that, but you know, I can't
To
address
explain
it
it more,
if you don't say it.
murdering babies, purposefully polluting water reservoirs, and other crimes like rape are wrong. And while that seems
Pretty sure all of that has happened since people started following the Bible. And I'm pretty sure a lot of that has used the Bible to justify. So maybe watch what you're saying on that one.
The question is, why do we think they're wrong? The moral argument suggests that these moral laws can't develop from a purely biological world, and that these morals need to come from...
No, we see shunning in monkey tribes. We see shunning when there's chimpanzees that, like, Jane Goodall has spent her whole life observing chimpanzees, and if you watched any of that shit, which you should because she was a saint and should be honored like a saint, you see evidence of shunning. You see evidence of things being of rogue entities being ousted from the tribe, and sometimes reformed, sometimes killed outright, sometimes welcomed back in. So evidence of nature, or evidence of shunning in nature, clear evidence that there is a social imperative in nature. It doesn't look the same way that it does to humans, but I mean, like, not a whole lot of that does. You know, we try to anthropomorphize our pets, but their social cues are way different than ours. Wagging tail doesn't always mean that they're happy. It could mean that they're stressed. Tail under the undercarriage doesn't always mean that they're deathly afraid. It could just mean that they're cold, little anxious, you know?
from a higher power or God. And the reason why is because if there was no God and we were purely biological beings, then we'd be no different than animals. Because
we are fucking animals. We are in that category of nature. We are animals. We're not plants, and we're not divine beings. Then what are we if we're not animals? That's how you classify things. just a term, you guys. You don't have to be afraid of it. I'm not an animal. There's no fucking way I'm an animal. How fucking dare you? Would you like to convert to Christianity? Would you like to come to church? Jesus loves you. He
Lions
loves you,
can
bud.
kill gazelles, and dogs can go have sex with other dogs without their consent, but lions don't murder.
Oh dear God. What are you talking about right now? What are you dogging about? Did I miss something?
Because lions can kill gazelles, and dogs can go have sex with other dogs without their consent, but lions don't murder gazelles, and dogs don't rape other dogs.
This is a ministry? This person claims to speak for God?
They're just acting like animals. So to really think about this argument, we need to consider why we as people think that things are wrong. Because if we truly did believe that our world
I already set that up. I already explained that.
was purely biological, then we couldn't say that what Hitler did was wrong.
Hitler was a Christian. Just so you know, Hitler was a Christian. And my guess is that he attended church just about as much as Donald Trump does, but he was a Christian. His whole thing was, we want to make sure that the country has the ability to express religion freely as long as it's Christianity. And then he was doing like devil rituals and shit. He had a whole cabinet of I think generals that were like researching occult shit and doing rituals and shit. Blaspheming. But you can bet your bottom dollar that when he was in there in that bunker and he was ready to take his own life, he was probably praying pretty hard. And if he truly repented and if he truly meant it, then you Christians, you're going to be sitting next to him in a booth up there in heaven, and you're going to be like best friends with Hitler. You're going to be getting some awkward looks from the Jews and their ball of light. That I think is going to be your son, probably, right? Is that, I assume, probably how it's going to be set up? I don't know. It's my headcanon. We'll see.
And according to the Holocaust Encyclopedia, Nazi Germany did not just kill Jewish people. They also killed black people, gay men, people with disabilities, and their political opponents.
And they were all Christian.
But think about this. If morals were not given to us by God, then the rules we have as a society would be subjective. Meaning,
they are, actually. If we as a society had come up thinking that murder was right, and if we somehow thrived despite that, then we, right now, in modern day, would think that murder is right. Like, thinking like gunning someone down in the middle of the street is just like another Monday. If we evolved as a society and that was how things were, then that's how they would be today. And it would be totally accepted, just like in the old days, slavery was accepted and even promoted. And the Bible was often used as a justification for it. It's our right. It's our divine right. Same thing with the Trail of Tears. Manifest Destiny. It's the country is our divine right. You know, we were given this country by the Lord. LBC Crusade. I mean, if he repented and he's not sinning again, who are we on perfect creatures to judge Allah's unperfect creatures? Right. I mean, I'm just telling people to be consistent. Because this guy's saying that, you know, Hitler was a bad guy.
was wrong. And according to the Holocaust Encyclopedia, Nazi Germany did not just kill. So to really think about this argument, we need to consider why we as people think that things are wrong. Because if we truly did believe that our world was purely biological, then we couldn't say that what Hitler did was wrong.
See what I mean? That's just not a fact. Because, you know, society decides what is good and what is bad.
Morals were not given to us by God, then the rules we have.
Only difference is the Bible doesn't condone slavery. Yes, it does. God specifically says you may take slaves from people in the countries around you or people in the lands around you.
As a society would be subjective. Meaning, what's wrong for me may not be wrong for other people.
He also says that if you beat your slave, that as long as he lives, it's all good. But if he dies, then you got to pay, what is it, 30 shekels? But only if he's a member, only if he's one of your fellow Hebrews.
And we could then respectfully disagree. But this moral argument suggests that there are things that we can't respectfully disagree with. Like, we can't respectfully disagree with Hitler. What he did was morally wrong.
But he was a Christian.
But if we lived in a purely biological world, I'd argue that we couldn't say that he was wrong. Because
the whole world got together and deposed him, and then, you know, people are still trying to say they're Christians and are aligning with his views today, this very day.
He was just doing what was right for him. And people could argue that objective moral values could emerge from a society, but if objective moral values did begin within a society, how would we know which moral values to defend? Because different moral values could technically arise that contradict other ones. So
that's why we codify things within laws. That's why we write, when society gets together, we make governments and we make laws, and we then structure society around what the things that we're supposed to be doing. I'm not mixing up stories. Oh my god. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and the members of their clans born in your country, and dude, this is just going to turn into you defending slavery. You really don't need to go down this path. I was not looking to have a slavery debate today, man. You guys are wrong every time. Every damn time. And then what's the passage? Passage. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property. And nowhere in the Ten Commandments does it say, thou shalt not own another human being. Nor did Jesus ever say, you shouldn't have slaves. And people, since then, several times, devout Christians have used the Bible to justify their support of slavery. That's why for, those several hundred years, we had a whole population of people that had no rights or autonomy. Ouchies. Sucks for you. You understand slavery wasn't slavery back in those days, way of paying off. Nah, doesn't change the argument. Sorry, slaves, you're owning people. I don't give a shit about the circumstances. Plus, on top of that, the Israelites, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Owning people is wrong. Doesn't matter. They should have come up with some other thing. You will never convince me that slavery is good. Ever. In a million years. Owning another person is wrong. Period. There is no justification for slavery. Ever. Period. No justification. So maybe don't defend it? Just kind of a bad look on you as being religious? I mean, you continue if you want, but you're not going to find much agreement here with me. And you're definitely not going to convince me.
How do we know rape is wrong? And if it is wrong, then how do we know it should stay wrong? I don't think the idea of objective moral values developing within a society answers this question. So all that to say, the moral argument states that because we have moral values that all our societies hold, values such as not murdering and raping people, it's indicative of some higher being giving us those values.
It could be literally anything. It could be magical spores floating through the air that are forcing us to have morals. Like, it could be anything. It could be invisible puppeteers, guiding us towards moral values that they believe are important. It could, if you believe it's magic, it could be anything in the realm of magic. It doesn't have to be God. Did it say his followers should have slaves, or was he putting down laws for what humans were already doing to other humans? Why would he continue it? If he's omnipotent, if he's all powerful and all good, why would he continue to let people have slaves? Slavery's wrong. It doesn't matter if it was the style at the time. Separate drinking fountains was the style at the time during Jim Crow, but was that okay? No. If you had a brain in your noggin, you'd be able to look back on the things that had happened in history and say, that was bad. That shouldn't have happened. It's never okay to own slaves. Never. It wasn't okay back then. It's not okay now. It's never been okay to own another human being. And God specifically endorsed it. Twice. In just that I was able to show you. Just saying. I mean, did you want to read the passages about how he sentences innocent young girls to death? No one said slavery is good. God does. He says you may, and as long as you're not killing your slaves, it's good because that's your property. But I'm saying God in the Bible never told his people to have. Yes, he did. He specifically commanded them. My God just put down laws to prevent people to abuse slaves. No, he didn't. Abuse is beating them in the first place. Abuse is trafficking a person in the first place. Abuse is owning another person in the first place. So already you're on the bad foot because humans were already. It doesn't matter what humans were already doing, man. If you're omnipotent, if you can change anything and you can do anything, you can prevent slavery. You can also prevent. The thing that I was about to talk about was how, the passage where he talks about laying a cloth down and the girl like not bleeding or bleeding, and how she's supposed to be like stoned to death if she doesn't bleed, right? You know that one? God's the one that put that law forth, right? And how many women bleed their first time? Only about 40%. So how many innocent girls do you think were sentenced to death on behalf of that God not being the best doctor? Just saying. LBC Crusade, there is no good type of slavery. There is no instance where slavery is okay. There is no group of people that are good despite having slaves. That's not a thing, man. Freedom. God doesn't believe in freedom. He set forth 10 laws that he requires you to live by. That's not freedom. God's a little bit of a fascist. But also he specifically said that you can own people. I just read you the 2 passages. He said you can own people, man. And he didn't say in any of the commandments that you can't. So, sorry. And all you guys got is the Bible. And I have a moral stance. You see what I'm saying? So, dovetailing with the thing that we're watching.
So if you don't believe in God, I would challenge you to think of where your conscience came from. Like, you have a sense of right and wrong. So where did that come from? And why is it that humans are different from animals? And why?
If God were the answer to this question, where it came from, then everyone would come to religion. Every single person would think, oh, it's God. He didn't endorse anything? Do I have to pull it up again? Where does it say not to take slaves? Where does it say here to not take slaves? Can you show me here anywhere in this passage where he says not to take slaves? Can you show me here? And additionally, now, does this seem like endorsement, or does it seem like, what is it? When you denounce, is it endorsement or denouncement here? For he is your property. Now, is that endorsement or is that denouncement? What decision are you postponing that could quietly change everything if you made it with courage? What? Feel free to elaborate on that, because that was some platitudes right there. So you're contradicting the way you're thinking. No, I'm not. Because the way you feel, that's not a sentence, got you modern atheism is really intelligent. Atheism is a lack of belief. So it doesn't have to be smart or dumb. It's just a lack of belief. And in what way am I contradicting myself? This is endorsement of slavery. This is commanding slavery. This is an endorsement of slavery. This is commanding slavery. I'm not sure where you think any of the contradictions are. Endorsement, commandment. Endorsement, commandment. Endorse, command. Endorse, command. These are Bible verses. This is your book. This is the book that you're basing your points on. I'm just reading it to you. So, I don't know. Maybe find a better book to follow. If you don't like that the Bible endorses slavery, don't follow the Bible. Or if you're God, if you don't like that your God endorses slavery, you said Allah, so maybe you're a Quran reader. But if you don't like that the idea of God is that he endorsed slavery or commanded slavery or whatever, if you don't like that, find a different God to follow. I don't think the gods are supposed to be good or bad. I think the gods are just supposed to be like cosmic forces, if we're supposed to take them literally, like look at all the legends and things like that of all the Norse gods and all this kind of stuff. It's all allegories. It's all just, trying to explain the unexplainable and trying to put our brains into some kind of focused, direction. Well, then you are okay with God endorsing slavery. It's okay for you to admit that. I wouldn't go around doing so because you're probably going to get beat up, but you can believe that if you want. That's called freedom. Because it's in the Bible that you can own slaves and you can beat them because they're your property. The law of thermodynamics states nothing can come from nothingness. I don't give a shit about thermodynamics. I don't give a shit about what anything came from anywhere. None of that matters to me. It's a lack of belief. It's not something, I don't believe something else. You can't argue with nothing, man. There's nothing here to argue with. I just don't believe in God.
Why can't we just kill and have sex with whoever we want to? Because I think that the best explanation for why we have this innate sense of right and wrong is because God put inside all of us a conscience that sees and holds universal and moral laws. And if you're a Christian and you want to use this argument,
right,
then that's just the
to him, God is the only thing that makes sense. But he doesn't say that. He says, logically, the only thing that makes sense is God. Which is just extra closed-minded propagandic bullshit. All right, let's watch an engineer prove that God exists. I'm going to get some more water and pee. I can't hear this remotely. Okay, I'm going to wait to play it until I get back, but I'm going to pee and I'm going to grab some more water. No, I'm not feeding you guys yet. Oh my God, you're being obnoxious. Yeah. Leave me alone. Hang on. My dogs are extra bugging me, so I am going to just feed them real quick. I'll put on the BRB thing. LBC Crusade supports slavery, just so you guys know. I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. LBC Crusade says slavery is A-OK. Oh, I had to grab her. She's trying to eat her sister's food, as she always does. Leviticus isn't God commanding slavery. Yes, it is. It's God regulating an already broken system that includes slavery. The text says you may buy, encourage, like that endorses it, not you must. Well, it says you may buy. Damn it, why do you keep making me pull it up again? Still says you can own people, and they will become your property. But, you know, it also says, so here, I mean, it says that, you know, this may just be a continuation of the way that they were living, right? But he makes certain to mention that you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. So if he's capable of saying something that, you know, kind of fixes a little bit of bias, why wouldn't he have changed this entire thing? Weird. Moving people toward freedom. Nuh-uh. Only Jewish slaves get freed into Jubilee. Kidnapping slaves was punishable by death. But they were still slaves. Abuse was forbidden. No, it wasn't. Killing outright was forbidden. And the Bible's overall direction leads away from slavery. No, it doesn't. Fulfilled in Jesus. Nope. He says, I came to fulfill the old laws and the new. Who taught equality? Not for gays, not for trans people, not for any otherism, not for any other outgroup. Oh, he's just mad because a person of color is destroying him? You're not destroying me. You're using the same arguments everybody else has used. His argument is going to be, why can it go? Stop if he's all-powerful. If he did that, why would make not all loving, blah, blah, blah. So at the end of the day, atheists always end up paradox in their own thought. Paradox? Man. You don't know what a paradox is. You don't know what a contradiction is. No, unfortunately, atheism is something that you're completely misunderstanding. It is a lack of belief. I'm just reading your book to you. That's all it is. You can disagree with me all day long, but I'm reading your book to you. I'm reading the book. I'm reading the words. You're trying to twist them into something that makes it more palatable, but at the end of the day, your God says that you can own slaves. He takes a moment to say... You see a lot of comments that I'm not seeing, Goose. They're in my thing. Maybe, I don't know. They're in my thing. Where would I... Where would I... Well, this was like a while ago. His argument is going to be... All right, so here's where I'm at right now in the chats. So if there's no law commanding police to beat black people, but we pass laws regulating that, it's not endorsing it. The God you believe in truly is a sick monster. Who said that? A white boy. Lol, typical. Cute dog. You see a lot of comments I'm not seeing. True, same here for me. It's saying I'm the only one watching your stream. Well, it should be on my screen. Oh, yeah, you guys can't see chat on YouTube. Damn it. How does that work? Oh, yeah, it says I have no viewers. Weird. I guess I'll restart it. Let's see if that works. It says 1 viewer so far. I don't know. It's going through stream elements, so maybe that's affecting the how it looks somehow on the channel. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know enough about this stuff. Give me 1 second. I just got to get the rest of her food so that the other dog doesn't eat it. Okay, yeah. Let me did it I mean I did restart it. I just hit off and on again, you know. Sometimes turning it off and on again helps, works wonders. Yeah, I mean I like discussing it as well. I think what I'm really hoping happens one day is uh I don't know. I think my goal is really just to raise awareness of the opposing view of just my point of view, because I see so much Christian content, and I happen to have a opinion, and I happen to have the ability to live stream, and so here I am doing it. But my hope ultimately is that I don't have to do it anymore. And not that I don't enjoy talking about it. Like, I'm one of those people that likes talking about politics and religion, and you know, most people don't. They don't. It's like those are the things that you don't bring up at a party, and like, I think it's interesting. I think knowing about what's going on in the world, and you know, what talking about what the possibly what could things could have come from, and all that sort of stuff. I think it's interesting. I don't think it's especially useful to society, but we've definitely there has been some good that has come from religious organizations, but I think that's more having to do with the people that are involved than it is the religion itself. What are your thoughts on Islam? Same thing. I think every religion has good and bad stuff that people have used it to justify. When you see, you know, Christians doing a soup kitchen and trying to help homeless people, and you talk to them about it, and they just sound like they're so passionate about helping, and they just want to help build the community and keep it going. It's easy to either, I guess, be fooled, or to just accept that they just want to do good and that they just want to help members of their community. You know, just like there are plenty of examples of bad people using Christianity as justification for things, there are also examples of people using it in good ways. And I think that's true with most religions. You know, I don't think it's not the flavor of the ice cream, it's the ingredients that matter, if that makes sense. I'm going to go close the door so my big dog doesn't go and eat poop, because she likes to eat poop. But I guess what I'm hoping for out of things like, you know, society moving forward, where did my what I'm hoping for, if there is such a thing as a utopian society, what I hope the view on religion it adopts is a welcoming but also more balanced view in terms of how we build and structure our society, you know. We don't just help our community, we help everybody. That's including Jews, Muslims, atheists, and even Satan worshippers. They need it if they needed it. I mean, altruism is not specific to any religion. It's just a thing that people want to do for others. So I think what I talked about earlier is that there are people within that space that will exploit the weakness of people who are disadvantaged um, in order to get converts. But that's not everyone, and it's not all the churches. So yeah, there's a lot of bad, but there's some good too. To most religions, a lot of bad, but some good. I think I'm willing to accept that. All right, and now let's have an engineer prove to us that God exists.
I can prove with these dominoes.
Now, right here again, is kind of an appeal to authority to himself. Just because you're an engineer doesn't mean you know shit. But let's bear with him for now.
That God exists, and then you tell me if atheism is dead.
Oh yeah, LBC, you've talked to a lot of Satan-worshipping celebrities who have admitted that to you. Interesting. I'm gonna have to call bullshit on that one. Sorry.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need just one scientific principle to prove that God exists. This little domino system is at rest. Nothing's moving, nothing's changing. It is in equilibrium, and it will stay in equilibrium forever, unless an outside being.
Oh, I think it was.
Upon it. Now,
It
what
wasn't
happens
showing that I
if
had
apply
viewers
little
because
force right
something
here?
I was playing was copyrighted, and it was like it
A little
stopped
force,
showing
a
it
little
to certain
nudge was
crowds,
applied,
I guess.
and the
Or it
system
was like trying to
released
figure out what was
potential
going on. I don't know.
energy.
It's weird.
And now it is back
It was very strange.
at equilibrium, and it will stay at
Who
equilibrium
knows?
forever until I re-energize the system.
Just so you know, LBC, Satan is a specifically Christian construct. Are you talking about Shaitan, or are you talking about just whatever the theological equivalent in insert religion here is to an evil power, or are you specifically speaking of Satan, aka Lucifer? Or no, in Islam it's different. He's is it Shaitan? Shaitan? Yeah, like I said, it's not. I don't get what's happening with it. He said, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of satanic worshippers all over the world, including Hollywood as well. I can put that. Let me put that in the actual thing so you can see. I can do this. I can do this. I've done every other thing to it, and I can do it now. I just have to wait for it to talk to OBS. It's extremely delayed when it does that. Okay. Got this, and then, I think browser. And we're waiting from OBS. This is technology happening right in front of our faces, okay, you guys? The future is here. Chat overlay. Add that motherfucking source. Yes! Yes! We have ignition. Is that what we have? Do we have ignition? Let me know if you need me to change it, if it needs adjusting. But you should now be able to see each other. Failing the server doing what it's supposed to do. Maybe I could make the background opaque? I don't know. Let me know. The law of thermodynamics says that nothing... You've said that before, man. Nobody cares about that. I guess the con that comes from the Abrahamic faith. So I guess the Christian, the Jews, the Muslims, it's the same character. It all came from Zoroastrianism. That was one of the first. It was the first religion to incorporate a duality, or at least the first recorded one. Okay, well, whatever. Hey, you know, as long as it's working, I'm happy. All I care about is that the technical difficulties are somewhat alleviating themselves. That's all we can hope for, really.
This is how Newton's first law describes the principle of equilibrium. Objects at rest stay at rest until
Where's my
acted
music?
upon by an unbalanced force. That's a little wordy, but it describes the behavior of objects in equilibrium. Imagine
Oh, you
the
should,
entire
on the video, you
physical
should be
universe
able to see
inside this circle. All
the
matter,
chat
energy,
now.
light, space, and even time inside this circle.
Is my
Inside
hope.
the physical universe. Outside,
And
nothing.
let me know if you need
Not
it bigger.
even empty space. In the beginning, the physical universe was nothing, an equilibrium of nothing, and it would have
There you go.
stayed that way unless something
Now you can't miss it.
outside of the physical universe entered the circle. But it did not stay this way. Something non-physical outside of the physical universe had to have existed to bring the physical universe.
Okay, I refreshed it,
So what do
so
we know about the being that created the physical universe?
I guess
Here
see
are
if that
6
helps.
things that we know about that
Why don't you
being.
put that in your pipe and
First
smoke
one
it?
is obvious. He's non-physical. To be outside of the physical universe, he has to be non-physical. Another word for that is spiritual. And for this spiritual, non-physical being to create the universe, he had to be powerful. And have the ability
Why does your video
to
what?
act. And if this powerful being was ever going to act, he had to be motivated. No system is at rest.
I wasn't paying attention to him.
Nothing's moving, nothing's changing. It is in equilibrium, and it will stay in equilibrium forever, unless an outside being acts upon it. Now what happens?
Is this about the universe? Because that's not how the universe was. It's not. It wasn't just a thing. It wasn't just formless, or it wasn't just imbalance. But nobody's arguing
if I
that.
apply a little force right here, a little force, a little nudge was applied, and the system released potential energy. And now it is back at equilibrium. And it will stay at equilibrium forever until I re-energize the system.
Is this God? Is this the argument for God?
Newton's first law describes the principle of equilibrium. Objects at rest stay at rest until acted upon by an unbalanced force. That's a little wordy, but it describes the behavior of objects in equilibrium. Imagine the entire physical universe inside this circle. All matter, energy, light, space,
Like
and even time inside
fuzzies.
this circle. Inside the physical universe. Outside, nothing. Not even empty space. In the beginning,
Right, that's not how any of that, to our current understanding, it looked more like it completely imperceivable chaos, just everything going everywhere, like nothing really having any kind of direction or affiliation or anything like that. It was just free things, free matter, free whatever the fuck existed. And it wasn't just something sitting stationary. It wasn't a baby universe sitting stationary waiting for someone to poke it.
the
It's
physical
not.
universe was nothing. An equilibrium.
I don't think anyone's
was
arguing that.
nothing. And it would have stayed that way unless something outside of the physical universe entered the circle.
No. You're just really reaching for nothing. You're reaching for a thing that hasn't been established. I've never heard this argument. You're just making it up out of thin air, it seems like.
But it did not stay this way. Something non-physical, outside of the physical universe, had to have existed to bring the physical universe into existence. So what do we know?
That's a reach again. That's a reach across a gap. Like, that's faith. Honestly, what's the point of you trying? I'm not trying to disprove God. If you don't even believe in God, it's like a paradox. Right, I'm not trying to disprove God. I'm trying to debunk people's arguments on here. Not trying to disprove. You can't prove or disprove. I think it's easier to disprove claims that people put into written texts that other people apply to their entire lives. And what's the point? I explained it, man. Were you listening? I said that people who come to these spaces to talk about these things tend to have stances on things. And when I have a stance on something, I want to use the platform that I have to communicate that stance. And if you choose to listen, then I appreciate it, and I welcome you. Yes, basically for layman's. I don't. What was I saying? Did I say that? Oh, yeah.
About the being that created the physical universe. Here are 6 things that we
What his argument is that there couldn't have been anything moving or shaking or doing anything without some external force giving it some kind of push or energy or something that got it going, which he can't know. despite being an engineer, which means shit, which means fuck all.
We know about that being. The first one is obvious. He's non-physical. To be outside of the physical universe, he has to be non-physical.
Real hard to prove.
Another word for that is spiritual. And for this spiritual, non-physical being to create the universe, he had to be powerful and have the ability to...
So you've made something up, and now you're giving it stats. Very interesting. Very
And
interesting.
if this powerful being was ever going to act, he had to be motivated by something.
All right, well, I'm going to make up my own god, all right? So the guy that poked and prodded the universe, all right? Number one, in order for him to have existed, he has to have massive pectoral muscles. All right, that's number one. Number two, we can keep as powerful because he's got to use those pectoral muscles to carry me around. All right, anytime I want. Number three, we'll keep that able to act because gosh darn it, I want this man proactive. All right, motivated. Okay, well maybe all of these translate to my magical mystical muscle man who created the universe. Apparently.
And this
We did it.
motivated being, if he was ever going to create
I think
the
I just
universe,
described Zeus without the lightning bolts.
in the world around us, he had to have some level of intelligence and imagination. So there
No, I mean none of that has to be true for any reason whatsoever. You don't just go from an empty void to God. You don't have to do that. You really don't. And then the only thing that you have to back it up is the Bible. And people have justified using the Bible for... No, dude, I don't believe in God. Why would I try to disprove something I don't even believe in? I don't believe it exists. I don't have to disprove it. It doesn't exist in my world. I try to see the best in a lot of the organizations that I see helping people, so I'm well able to admit that there are organizations that claim to be religious that do good things. I'm not trying to disprove religion or disprove God or anything like that. I'm offering my perspective. You can either take it or leave it. I can only say what I say and think what I think. And I think this man, there's a reason he's only at 6.7K. Now, I'm not any better, but that's okay because I can punch up. All right? I'm allowed to punch up a little bit, especially if I'm a skeptic. All right? I don't know why I'm getting all Chris Eubanks here, but... Did I say the right name? Let's hate the guy that tried to talk... No, that wasn't Eubanks. Oh, fudge. Who was that? Okay, so there was a sports commentator. I think it was... baseball? Where he's like, and that's how you stay. He went to third base, and now he's gonna go back to home. Was that fucking Cronkite? No, I mean, okay, yes, it's Cronkite, but I don't think I was trying to do Cronkite. Ah, fuck, that is just gonna melt my brain all day long. So I think this is the alien guy, one of the alien guys. So let's hear what he has to say about God.
He suggested that God didn't fit into the Big Bang Theory. There was no room for God. Why do you
Okay, that's, well,
disagree?
The late Stephen Hawking had very sharp opinions about God and the creation of the universe. According to Einstein's general theory of relativity, the Big Bang was almost instantaneous, and therefore Stephen Hawking said, aha, there was no time for God to create the universe. It just happened just like that.
I don't think, again, the first knee-jerk reaction I have to this is that atheists don't consider anyone an authority on atheism. Atheism is a lack of belief in something. Doesn't mean that we go to the Church of Atheism. It doesn't mean that we subscribe to Atheism Monthly. It doesn't mean that we go to a weekly meeting of Atheists Associated or anything like that. though that would be pretty funny if that existed. Atheists just live their lives like normal. They just live them without God. And that happens to be all that happens most of the time. There are people who would actively try to speak out against religion, just like there are Christian people who stand in town squares talking on bullhorns about how people are going to die and go to hell for having abortions. So you got your crazies, and I'm one of ours. Yeah. So even then, I think if I respect Stephen Hawking, which I don't know if I do or not, I could give a shit. Well, Liam, you're not going to get me to shut up talking to me like that. You could ask nicely. What was I saying? I go to the Church of Atheists located in my office, and communion involves indica or sativa. Yeah. It's a pretty relaxing religious experience for sure. De-stressing. I think Liam needs some of that. But yeah, there's nobody that speaks for atheism, or no one that speaks for atheists. So even if I was to give a shit what Stephen Hawking is saying right now, he doesn't speak for anybody. He speaks for himself. And I think because you guys appeal to authority so much, you have to have somebody to believe in. You have to have somebody to follow. Just like Daddy Trump,
God,
you know?
Could not possibly exist. That's an old theory. We don't necessarily believe that anymore, because we now believe that the Big Bang was a quantum event. And in a quantum event, if it happens once, it can
That is just a nothing burger of a term. Quantum event.
happen again and again and again, creating a multiverse of universes.
Right.
And so we began to realize
Sure.
that there was plenty of time for a God to create a universe, because there was not just one universe.
And now God created the
He
multiverse.
suggested
Sure.
that God didn't fit in.
Apparently.
To the Big Bang theory. There was no room.
Ay, ay, ay. So yeah, that's the alien guy, the guy that's on like Ancient Aliens and stuff. He's on there with the guy with the big hair. It's pretty fun seeing them talk about aliens. And oh, he's religious. Go fig. You know, I've always wondered that, like, why the Venn diagram between conspiracy theorists and religious people overlaps so hard. It's because you gotta have like something to believe in, you know? Oh, Dr. Spo, I know it. Don't I know it? Don't Dr. Spo, or I tried to make your name into something fun, but I had trouble doing that. Didn't work. Gonna just give that up and pretend I never tried. All right, let's look at these 6 proofs for God's existence. LBC, do you think you're going to see any similar opinions here?
Socrates once stated that we should follow the argument wherever it leads. When we look at the most profound question,
When we
does
look at the
God
most
exist,
profound...
we should certainly follow his advice.
Oh, it's only 8
When we
minutes.
do, we'll find evidences that show us God is...
Okay, I don't know if this is a pet peeve to anybody else, but it really, like, annoys me when people say evidences. You can just say evidence. Or proofs. You can just say proof. Proof counts for plural. Like, you don't have to put that extra effort in to close it up with an S. You don't have to have multiple proofs. You know, it's just say proof. Just say evidence. It doesn't make it any more prestigious when you add an S to it. I was raised Baptist. There's no convincing these people they are irredeemable. Well, I guess if I believed that being redeemed was a thing, then I'd probably be a Christian. Well, I think that's an accepted term. I think that, like, you're allowed to say plurals of evidence and proof. I just hate it. I just don't like it. It just annoys me. It makes me feel like the person that's saying it is trying to sound more important by adding an S where it doesn't belong. It's like, you know, how neckbeards will do they'll do the thesaurus thing where they just like endlessly try to associate words with different words because they think it makes them sound smarter. That kind of thing, you know? Where the hell's my lighter? Where'd you go? I need it. for the thing. I found it. God is neither time nor space. He is creation itself. There really is no better way than explaining how God works. You can't explain how God works. He says in the Bible that you cannot explain how he works. Because we are humans, because we humans are smooth-brained and can't comprehend the fourth dimension. What? I mean, we couldn't comprehend a visual representation of the fourth dimension, but we can tell time just fine. And we navigate space just fine. Like, what? I mean, if God is outside of time and space, then couldn't he be present here, like in the future, like in modern day, right? Like, could he look at us, like looking, like just LBC, just focus on this question. Could he look at us right now and see how civilization in our society is going right now? Like, just could he just observe how things are going? Since he's outside of time and space, can he look at us? Is he able to observe? Like, just very, very simply. Like, imagine that he's up in heaven or whatever, and he's got a telescope. Can he see us? Can he see what we're up to? Because, I mean, I think most people say that God sees you pretty much wherever you are, right? I just want to make sure that you also believe that. I'll let this play while you answer.
It's real. Let's look at 6 proofs that show God exists. Number 1,
6
the universe
proofs that
must
show
have
God
a cause.
exists.
The most
Oh, well, here's the first argument. That was exactly the same argument in the last one. Let's see if it is presented any differently.
fundamental law of science is the
This is exactly what you were saying, LBC. Something can't come from nothing. Here we
law
go.
of cause and effect. And it says that for every material effect we see, there is a cause that came before it or was simultaneous to it, and that is greater than it. The universe is a material effect. So what caused the universe? You see, if you don't believe in a creator, then you have to suggest something like...
You don't have to suggest anything. If you don't believe in a creator, you don't have to claim shit. You can just say, I don't know. I live my life just fine without any kind of religion, so why do I need to ponder it? Why is it an important thing? Because you people need me to be saved because there's something missing in your life. To answer your question, how I know God is good from a Christian perspective, we know God is good because we are still breathing on earth. Didn't he kill all of us at least twice? But why don't you answer my question, LBC? Can he see us right now? Can he see everything that we're doing? Can he see all of us? Is he omnipotent? Is he omnipresent? And is he all good? Because I put my faith in it, just like how you put your faith in human beings that lie to you. And you don't think that there's any potential that the people who wrote the Bible were lying? You don't think that there's any potential out of the millions and millions and millions of people on this earth who have lived and died during that era? You don't think there's any potential in the numerous revisions, numerous reinterpretations, the wars that were fought over the original transcripts, that it changed hands time and time again? There's no part of you that believes that nobody who reinterpreted or wrote the Bible or who houses any of the original manuscripts might have lied about any aspect of it at all whatsoever. You don't think that's at all possible? Honestly, you're right. Neither proves that he's good nor disproves that he's good. Then it doesn't mean that he's automatically good just because it can't prove or disprove anything. That means that the answer's inconclusive. You guys don't have to think in binaries. You really don't. It can be God. It can be, I don't know. It can be a space grape. It can be a Starship Enterprise. It can be a sweat on Captain Picard's brow. You don't know, and neither do I. I think the thing that brings us together is the fact that we don't know. The thing that drives us apart is the fact that you claim to know. And you claim to be sure, and you claim to have faith. That's where we diverge, because that puts you in a box. That takes away your freedom. And while religion may do good things sometimes, again, like I said, it's the people that are the ones doing the good. It's not the religion. It's the people who have decided that maybe they just don't want to be a part of a toxic religion. And maybe they want to distance themselves from the bad things. You never yourself said slavery is bad. You simply tried to argue that God didn't endorse it or command it. I can tell you all day long, I hate slavery. I think slavery is wrong. I think that owning another person is wrong. You went all up and down trying to defend it. Doesn't make you good. If you try to attribute that to God, then you should pick a different God. So the only conclusion you can come to is that if the only document that we have to prove God's existence is the Bible, then he's probably not a very good guy. And you can say, well, it's because you're stupid, because that's what you're indicating by saying, I'll sound smart by using layman words, I guess. I don't know what you think you're saying there, but it sounds like you're trying to call the people here stupid, which is not a very Christian thing for you to be doing. I guess you said Allah, so I assume that you're Muslim, but I don't want to just, we're talking about the Christian God, so let's keep it thematic.
A singularity. That's what is popular today, that there was some type of singularity that exploded in something called the Big Bang. But then when you try to get down to the bottom of what's a singularity, well,
the thing that I keep hearing that is the answer to that question is that it's like a single point, or it's like one thing, which is not what a singularity is, but let's see if that's what he says.
What we hear from the scientific community that suggests to us, the cosmologists, they say, well, a singularity was something that popped into existence from nothing.
Right. We don't know the origin.
If there ever were a time when there was nothing, that's exactly what we would have now. The idea that something popped into existence
Right. See, nobody's making that argument. Nobody's trying to say that something popped into nothing. We're saying we don't know. We're saying, well, this is what could have happened. But people who say God is the answer aren't saying God could have happened. It could have been God. They're not saying that. They're saying it was God. That's, again, where we kind of, where we miss each other in the night, Okay, let's just say God is in a dimension that he's in every place at one time. The logically we humans wouldn't be able to see within that dimension. We could try to perceive it, but we'll never. I'm asking you if he can view us. Can he observe us? Does he know what's happening in the world right now? That's the only question I've asked you. If you could just answer that, that'd be great. Please and thank you. If not, maybe I'll time you out, and then you'll actually realize that I was trying to ask you a question.
Nothing is simply not a scientific idea. You see,
and that's not the idea that anyone's presenting.
They're suggesting that singularity.
Why do you guys always have to lie to make a point, man?
It behaves supernaturally. They say that singularity wouldn't have followed the laws of nature. Well, then, so what are we left with? We're left with the fact that the universe had a beginning, and it was not a natural cause. It was something above nature. It was something super nature.
Something you can't prove.
Something supernatural. And so, when we see the material effect of the universe, we can know that there was a supernatural creator.
Right. But you would have to be taking that on faith.
That caused the universe.
So you've gone from nothing to God. Nothing to God. Nothing to God. That's not how thought works. That's not how reasoning works. If I told you that would be considered my experience, and what I know about human nature is they don't give a fuck about individual experience. So there wouldn't be no point of me even giving my perspective, knowing how human reaction would get. Can God see us? Can he observe us right now in modern day? LBC Crusade 562. Can God observe us today? No, he didn't kill all of us, because if he did, he wouldn't give Noah the heads up. Well, he killed, okay, 99.9999% of all of us. And that wasn't the first time. Brush up on your Archangel Michael lore. He was quite the busy bee. And how many innocent women, young women, died because they didn't bleed on their first time? How many do you think? Millions? Over how many years? Hundreds of years? How many? Billions? I'm kidding. Probably not billions. Billion! 600 billion people were killed. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. All right?
Proof number 2. Design demands a designer. It is a true...
Again, if you're calling it design, if your definition of design... See, that's, you just apply design to nature, which is not... That's not true. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but it's nature. If you want to call existence design, creation, sure, but you're specifically using those words. Nobody else is. You're using those words. You're saying all of creation, all of his design. Not even the slightest. We Christians in the beginning, we being killed and prosecuted. On top of all that, our scriptures were banned all over the world. Are you admitting that Christianity started out as a cult? Because that would be quite the admission coming from a Christian. It would be impossible for anyone to corrupt Bible during the time of prosecution, or it's persecution, I think is the word you're looking for. And the Bible is written well before the persecution, if that's what you're talking about, like of the Roman Christians. It was written way before then, and has been interpreted many times since then by men of power. Just so you know. Yes, there would. Do you not think people are gullible? LBC Crusade, you are putting, again, way too much faith in one single book. And you're assuming that all the people along that chain are completely incapable of scamming people. When you know, again, the reason you're dodging my question is because you know I'm going to point out to you examples of when, God could have stopped shit and didn't. So he can't be all good. And if he's not all good, that means he would allow chicanery to happen by his trusted, his trusted people or whatever. So, again, I would pick a different god if I were you. I mean, there's plenty of them. There's a bunch of different gods that you can choose from. You really don't have to pick the Christian god. There's a bunch of them. I wouldn't personally subscribe to any religion, but I know that it's hard for people who grew up that way or who have specific beliefs. You got to have them, justified somehow. You got to have them reinforced, and so it's hard for you to just say, yeah, it's really shitty that God endorsed slavery. I choose to, in my doctrine, cut out that part of the Bible. But nope. Strict adherence to the dogma. That doesn't sound fascist to you? Yeah, it sounds like freedom to me. Oh, man. Cheers. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. It's interesting that you would concede that when I'm already trying to move on to a different questioning. See, that's not, you're not supposed to assume that people are feeling emotions that they're not. That's not how you debate. You address the point, and then you make your own point. Do you honestly think if I was crying, that I would be slamming the cereal milk straight to my dome with clear chambers every time? Right. Why don't you actually, like, read the room? Because you're basic. You're right, slavery is bad, and it's great that you can acknowledge that, but it'd be even greater if you could answer the question, can God see us right now? Is God omnipotent? Can he see us in this world right now? Can he? But if you really did your study on religion, you would know this little information. I fucking know what an Abrahamic fucking religion is. There are, however, sects that believe entirely different things than both mainstream Muslims and Christians. So I'm trying to respect your religious choices by trying to clarify when I say that I don't know which God you believe in. That's me being respectful. I don't believe in any of that shit because magic is not real. But in the honor, or in the spirit of open discussion, I'm trying to respect you by not pegging you into like one specific style or flavor of Christianity or Islam. So, sorry, I don't have to do that. I can just, do what you guys like and persecute you if you'd like. But that'd be your choice. And I did do my study on religion. I bet you anything you've never even read the Bible. I would bet you, I would sign a contract saying that I'll give you $100 if you can prove that you've read your Bible.
This universe looks designed. In fact, when we...
Right, and there you go. And there the argument completely falls apart. Well, the universe looks designed, therefore it must have been.
See
Spurious.
Various different aspects of nature, and we see birds and squirrels and trees, and we see all of the things that they do so well. Many times we as humans, we try to copy and mimic that design, but often we don't do nearly as...
And somehow that just means God? That just straight up means God? Like it's just automatically God?
Well as the design that we see in nature. We look at the design of the human body and the human hand and the arm and the leg and the brain, and we see that those are some of the most advanced, technologically savvy pieces of equipment ever put together, and we try to mimic them and copy them, and we can't do it as well.
Come on back now.
Because this universe exhibits design from the starry sky at night to the fingertips on your hand. The design is overwhelming. It's everywhere. Where does design originate?
Just because it's beautiful, just because it's cool that, to think that, there must have been a designer, that doesn't mean there was. Even 1 million people believing something doesn't mean it's true. I've answered your question. Yes, God can see us because he's in that dimension. He can see us, but we humans can't see that. Okay. So if he is omnipresent, if he can see us, then why didn't he prevent slavery or the Holocaust or natural disasters that killed millions and millions of people? Why didn't he stop any of those things? If he's good, why didn't he stop any of those things? He committed mass genocide. If he has the power, if he designed this place, he put this fish tank together, he put the weather in this fish tank with the power to see into the future, knowing that the weather was going to kill millions of innocent people. And if you're saying that it's to teach them some sort of lesson, well, okay, but he also has omnipotency, so he can use his special matrix powers to implant whatever lesson he's trying to teach directly into humanity. So omnipresent, omnipotent, he could have prevented millions and millions and millions of innocent people from dying in the time that we've been humanity up to now. Just natural disasters as an example. But I mean, all the stuff, crusades, maybe he could have stopped all of the ethnic genocides that happened in his name, at least. Maybe he could have stopped people using Christianity to justify atrocities. So if he can see us, if he's present here and in the past at all times, then when he's designing the Bible, he could set things up so that none of that happens, and that we still are able to learn the lessons that we need to learn, and we're still able to have freedom. He just never said don't own people. In fact, he said do own people. And he called them property. So I don't know. Abrahamic religions aren't looking too good right now.
Well, what you and I both know is that when you see things that function and they're complex, that design comes from an intelligent designer.
No. Nobody was inside my mother's womb putting me together. That's not how that happened. There's a sperm and an egg that came together. Multicellular life happened. It's all right there. Like there's like pretty accurate animations of how like a child forms. There's like ultrasound proof, like the people, like, they follow the development of the fetus, like you guys are so adamant that a baby's living, so we should be able to use that as an excuse for being able to determine whether or not there was a little man tinkering in the womb, putting us together before we were born. And it doesn't appear as though there's any evidence to that. So my functioning hands do not magically get attributed to some superpowered individual when it's very clear that I was born. I was born from a womb, not out of a cloud. I wasn't dropped on my mom's doorstep by a fucking stork.
Big explosions just simply don't bring about order. They don't cause things.
It wasn't a big explosion. People always misconstrue what that means. It was not a big explosion.
Are functional and complex to come into existence. The design we see in the universe demands a supernatural.
Nah, I'll stick with the Christian God. Have you seen those other countries and how their God treated them? Use the wrong form of their. Which what do you mean? Which religions? I mean, again, there's both bad and good to all religions. And I think the fact that you know that so many people are Christian, but fail to understand how Christianity is responsible for so much death and destruction is surprising. But what's more surprising is that you claimed that I didn't know much about the Bible, but then you were ignoring the two passages that specifically endorse and command slavery and call people property. So I don't know where you think you're getting your stances from, but they sound more like hiccups to me.
Intelligent designer. Proof number 3. Life demands a supernatural life giver.
Nobody would ever claim that. Why is life demands a supernatural life giver? We've seen bugs lay eggs. We've seen single cell organisms divide. Osmosis, mitosis, shit like that. We've seen that in lab environments under a microscope. Creation of life does not require a supernatural life giver.
You see,
fucking weirdos.
In the material world, we have come to understand that there is a law of biology called the law of biogenesis. Law of biogenesis simply says this, that in this material, natural world, life comes from previously existing life of its own kind. Now, when we look at how people used to think about life, they said, no, life can arise spontaneously from non-living chemicals. And yet,
Dude, you're literally debating old messages while trying to start up new ones, then get mad at me because your messages are running slow. There's a delay. That's true with any live stream. I think Twitch right now is the quickest platform to watch me on. Trying to start up new ones. What do you mean? I've been rehashing the same point over and over again. You keep going around in circles. I keep reading the Bible to you, and you're like, nuh-uh. What can I do? What can I do beyond that? All I can do is just keep, saying the same point in different ways, hoping that maybe at some point you'll understand, but you keep failing to understand, so we're at an impasse.
At every single biological
I don't know what you think a debate is, but it ain't that.
experiment has shown us that
And also, again, putting emotions into people's mouths is not how you debate either. If you want, I can give you a lesson. We can actually, teach you how to debate, but it's not, you're not supposed to attack the person. You're not supposed to be like, oh, you're getting so mad. You're supposed to, attack the point, and you're supposed to be like, oh, yeah, well, if I understand you correctly, what you're trying to argue is this and this and this, and then when the person confirms, they can either nod or they can say, yeah, that's right. Then you can continue on, and then you say your point, and then they consider your point, and they can try to clarify, asking questions. But that's not what you're doing right now. You're going nuh-uh to pretty much everything I say. So, I just read you the Bible. That's all I did. I just read the Bible. I can do no more than reading the Bible. And I don't mind pulling up passages. If you want to pull up passages that says that slavery is not okay, then I would appreciate that, because that would actually be part of an open discussion. LOL, thanks for what you call respect. I mean, to be fair, you think that you're winning some kind of fight here, which is pretty disrespectful to me because I'm not debating anyone. You're trying to... You think you're winning a debate, and I'm not even having a debate with you. I'm just reading you, again, the Bible. So I don't know what you think you're winning. You're winning a debate with yourself, I guess. Maybe you're having an internal conflict or something, but we weren't arguing. I'm giving you what the Bible says. You're choosing not to look at the Bible. You choose not to hear the words of your God. So, I can't do no more.
simply is biologically impossible. Life doesn't arise from non-living chemicals. From where did life arise? Where did life originate if it doesn't arise from non-living chemicals? You see, the idea that there's no God...
See, I don't personally know where life came from, but, you know, there are people who know more than me who are pretty certain about the chain of evolution, how it presently sits, and it makes sense when I hear them explain it, and it doesn't make sense when I hear people explain God. That's a very, very simple way to explain just kind of where I'm at right now. So, if you have evidence that God says it's not okay to own people, I'm happy to hear it. And that's me respecting you. See, if I was going to say, oh, you're getting so triggered, all of this is projection because maybe you've got a tiny pee-pee and you just can't stand people pushing back against your faith because you're so zealous that you need something to hold on to because you can't hold on to your pee-pee, then I would have said that. But I didn't say any of that, okay? All right? I tried to respect you, and I'm trying to say that, you know, you're able to show me something that will change my mind. Please feel free. I'm happy to see it.
Suggest to us that there has
And
to
I
be
will
some
never
singularity
say
without a cause that
anything about
exploded,
you
and that explosion
hurtful
brought about
personally.
design, which we've never,
Especially
ever
not
seen
about
happen.
having any
And
kind of
then,
small pee-pee or anything
ultimately,
like that. I will never say
somewhere
that to
the
you.
non-living chemicals gave rise to life, but that's biologically impossible.
You can be sure of that.
Life demands a
On that you can smoke.
supernatural creator. Proof number 4. Moral law demands a moral law.
Wow, okay, so this is almost proof for proof the same exact video that we saw from the other ministries. It's almost like you guys just only ever have these points to make. I think
If some
LBC, I
things
think
are
you even said
objectively
something
morally-
can't come from nothing,
And
which
other
again is
things are
not,
objectively
what
morally
people
wrong,
are
then
arguing.
there must be a God.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I can't really explain that because I'm not a scholar. Most people, even scholars, won't be able to explain this. All I can say is, even though I know, I don't, you didn't, what?
You see, if we evolved from primordial slime over
Continue.
multiple millions of years, at what point did objective moral values arise? We don't look at a dog and say that that dog objectively, morally violated some rule when he steals a bone from another dog. We don't say, hey, he violated.
Why do you guys pick the worst examples? Dogs have pack mentality. It's very clear that there's a social hierarchy in packs of dogs. What? That's very, very clear. We even see that as most humans, that there is a hierarchy in dog packs. Jesus. What a bad example. You don't like this, but God gave the world freedom to make their own decision and create their own path away from him. He's a loving father. He called love you so much, but he has to let you do. No, he doesn't. He made the rules. God made all the rules. God decided what was right and what was wrong. He didn't abide by any law except the ones that he created. God created rules. God created reality. God created the universe. He created the world. He created time. He created space. He can navigate all of that at the same time. He can see the future. He can see the past. He can see everything all at once. He did not have to ever introduce slavery in the first place. But in the Bible, he endorses it. Make it make sense. He could have made it so that there was only one religion and still made people wholesome. He could have made it that, he could have made it any way that he wanted. And if we have a perception of what a ideal society looks like, of what a utopia looks like, then he for sure should have had one too. And it's certainly not sending innocent little girls to death for not bleeding on their first time of their child marriage. And it's certainly not ethnic fucking genocide that people justify over and over again, waving the Bible in the air. Certainly not slavery. Certainly not slavery. What can I do? I can only read your book to you.
Violated a objective moral value. We just don't say that. But we do say that humans can perpetrate things that are objectively morally wrong, that humans can be involved in things that are morally right. If that's true...
And that doesn't require religion. How do you guys explain anything that happened before Christianity? Like, if we just look at history, there were religions before Christianity. You can trace Abrahamic religions back to Zoroastrianism. That was the first religion to introduce duality. It's all there. Like, that's part of recorded history. So how do you guys explain what was around before the Bible existed? Because as you may know, the most recent, or the oldest copy of the Bible that we have, something like 800 years old, the manuscript, it's like falling apart or some shit.
There must be a God.
Flimsy traceability there.
Exist. The atheistic idea that there is no God is found...
That's not what atheists believe. Atheists just don't believe in God. You guys have such a hard time thinking that someone just doesn't have a belief. It's like we have to have believed in God at one point and then, like, now removed that. That's not what atheism is. You just don't believe in something. You just don't believe in God. If you're apolitical, you just don't participate in politics. You don't have a political party. You're not, oh, I'm a liberal, but I'm just staying out of it. That's not what it is. You guys are crazy. That's not what it is. That's not what it is.
Materialism. The idea that
You're
this
crazy.
material world is all that there is, all that there was, and all that there ever will be. Because of that, atheism has to suggest that you as a person don't really have free will.
Yes, we know. What the fuck, dude? There's no concept of this within atheists. Atheists simply don't believe in God. That's all it is. There's no doctrine to it. There's no, well, humans don't have free will. There's an atheist that could believe that. There's an atheist that may not believe that. There's a Christian that might believe that humans don't have free will. There's probably a Christian out there in a Baptist church who believes that humans should not have free will. There's a ton of Catholics who believe that humans do not have free will, and if they do, they should be ashamed of themselves. But atheists don't believe any of that. They don't have a doctrine. They don't have an ideal. They don't have a Bible or anything like that. It's just atheism. It's atheism. It's no God. Atheism. We don't have a God. We don't subscribe to a God. We have our own set of morals and moral judgments that we make on people. We have our own set of core values that we live by. But it's constantly misunderstood by Christians as a hatred for God or a excising of God from some existing somewhere. That's not a thing. You're not born religious as much as you Christians would love to think people are. You're not born religious. Even according to you guys, you're born with original sin, which means you're what? You got to be baptized, I think, or you got to accept Jesus into your heart or some shit. I think that's there's a process that you got to go through at some point. Until then, you go straight to fucking purgatory like all the aborted babies. Unbaptized aborted baby. Maybe you can baptize an aborted baby. I don't know. But you never know. I don't want to just say that you can't because I don't know for sure. You can't just assume stuff like that. All right. So again, it was all the same arguments that the last video showed us. I have to pee, but I also normally, if I have to, I can just take my wireless earbuds, but my Bluetooth is not connecting right now, so unfortunately I'm just gonna have to wait to play this. I would normally just let it play. Give me a sec. I'll try to squeeze the pee out as quick as possible. I will just really force it. I will get kidney stones for you. I'll do it. You down with LBC? Yeah, you know me. You down with LBC? He supports slavery. You like that rap? I just came up with it. I just invented it. Well, thank you so much for sticking around, LBC. I appreciate it. While this channel goes through its growing pains after some 15 years in existence. I think I've had 2 channels for... I haven't really been streaming to YouTube for like any... It's been about a year now, I think, but it was tough going for a while. Yeah, that's... I think... You know what's probably happening is my channel might be getting reported, because that is something that someone once said for people to do when in my chat, because they didn't like what I was saying. But then again, you know, I don't just assume. I think that's more of a Christian thing to do, is the persecution complex. But that would be the only thing that I think would be happening, people not being able to see, like, comments and stuff. I mean, you know, could also just be, what's it called? The thing. YouTube. Could just be YouTube being YouTube, you know? But yeah, I mean, I don't do, like, formal debates, but I have Mondays and Tuesdays that I have earmarked for political and religious discussions. I have people call in sometimes, not like anything formal, just like get on a Discord channel or whatever and talk about God or politics. Yeah, I do that every week. So even if you disagree with me, then feel free to tune in on any of those times, or days.
Science that points to a supernatural force. Yup, this natural law is known as the law of conservation of matter
Again,
and energy.
the same
Natural
point
law states
again.
that matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed. Let's just
Ay,
focus
ay,
on
ay.
the first part. What does it mean that matter and energy cannot be created? It means
My face
that
is greasy.
something cannot come from nothing.
But Professor,
Well, good,
matter
because
can't be created
if
from
we were in
nothing.
a debate,
Then
you
where
wouldn't
did
be.
our universe of matter come from?
According to this natural law, nothing natural could do this.
I'm all
It's
greasy.
The law.
Wait, are you saying this natural law means there should be no matter?
But Professor,
Wait, are we
clearly we're
expecting
here.
a freaking?
So how did that happen?
Well, my friends, clearly something circumvented the natural law.
But what could circumvent a natural law of science?
By definition, it had to be supernatural. That's right. This natural law tells us that a supernatural event has occurred. At some point, matter was created. And when we follow the science, science points to an unnatural, supernatural starting cause.
Sorry, I'm texting
Of
and
course someone's going to
I can't
argue
talk while I'm
against
texting.
this
It's very
logic,
difficult for me.
right?
Go ahead and try.
Continuing packages.
Well, what if
I just want to make sure I heard my
that
dogs
law
barking,
may
and I
be
hope
proven
that
wrong?
they are not
Sure,
barking at a
maybe
package that
one
might get
day,
stolen.
But as of today, it is a law, and it's considered one of the most foundational laws of physics.
So that
Is he
argument
still
just
talking
points
about the
to
fucking
scientific
something can't
reality.
come from nothing? This is he was supposed to have 3 points here. Oh, proof of God in 3 minutes. God damn it, it's 1 point. Ay ay ay. Same argument.
I'm about to show you absolute proof that God
Oh,
is
he's
real
got
and the
absolute
Bible is
proof
true.
that God is
The
real.
Saudi
Okay.
Arabian government has finally allowed people to take pictures of the true Mount Sinai, the place where God came down in a fire and appeared to Moses, according to Exodus chapter 19.
Okay, show us the
verse 18.
pictures.
So here it is.
Okay.
You can literally see the top of the mountain is burnt, and right next to the mountain is this rock.
You think nothing has happened to that mountain in thousands of years? That it just stayed that way the entire time? And are you going to try to say that that's an angel? Please do not try to say that's an angel.
Right here that's split in half. The very rock that God told
Oh, okay,
Moses
good.
to strike so that water would come out. This really happened. God is
So seeing a rock and a mountain mean that God's real. Oh dear. Oh, I thought this is so funny. So again, it's the appeal to authority thing, where you say that because someone is the world's smartest man, that they somehow have an authority over other people, that they get to speak for people. Weird. Individualism is a big thing that's frowned upon in religious circles, so I get it, but weird.
Does God exist?
Yes.
If God existed, that fucking guy wouldn't. This dude.
Yes.
Simple as
Yes. The reality has an identity. Okay? The identity is that as which something exists. Okay? Matter of fact, when you say the word reality, you're naming an identity. It is, you're identifying something. This.
I'm smiling because you're.
Yeah. So he's saying word salad to claim his opinion that God is real. And because somehow he's the world's smartest man, which is just a claim that is being made here, that nobody's substantiating that in any way. Somehow he's the authority and can speak for humankind on that.
Your answer on this is so beautiful. It just reminds me of Moses at the burning bush. And
it must be. Something has, so it must be. It's a thing, it has to be.
Moses at the burning bush says, "Who shall I tell the people that you are?" Talking to God. And God says, "Tell them I am that I am."
That's right.
I am identity itself. I'm being himself.
That's exactly.
Wouldn't he have said, "Don't do it anymore"? Wouldn't he have said, "No more slavery"? If he could look into the future and he could look and see that people, when educated, understand that slavery is wrong, why couldn't he look into the future and then look back and go, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't do that"? Especially if, if I'm to understand that God maybe was just trying stuff out, he was just throwing stuff on the wall, see what's gonna stick, maybe he was just trying existence for the first time, you never know. But even then, learning as an omnipotent, omnipresent force would indicate that you could change. It would indicate that you could learn lessons and that you could understand more about the earth that you've created. And if you're omnipresent, then you can change all those circumstances on a whim. Blink your arms or flap your eyes. And there you go. You can change it all anytime you want. Snap of the fingers. World doesn't need anything that God doesn't deem it to need. So if God did all this stuff and it's okay, then he's not a good guy. He's not a good force. So you can't claim that he's good. If he exists, so be it. I can take that at face value. But I'm not going to support a guy like that. I wouldn't support a human like that, so I'm not going to support a God like that. Why would you? It seems inconsistent.
Exactly right. That's what the CTMU says. It just comes up with the mathematical structure that you need to build a reality out of that. You see? So you come up with that identity and then you search it for its properties. You see,
This is all gobbledygook, by the way. Just so you know, this means fuck all.
once you've built the preliminary framework, then you start deducing the properties of this identity, and you find out that those properties match those of God as described in most of the world's...
Wow, he certainly makes me feel dumb. The fucking nonsense that he's speaking right now.
religions.
Does God exist?
Yes.
Oh my god. So sad. He's probably... I mean, he probably got a little bit of money for this. So, yeah. Art Bell hired actors, and people still think all that shit was legit, so... I think it's so funny, like, there's such a tightly regarded recording of all of the charlatans along, like, all throughout history, and Christians can't even fathom that a religious person who might be in a position of power would ever lie to them. Because God won't let him, a force you can't see or quantify, a force that doesn't take a cut, who's a good silent partner, who holds all the accountability, can't possibly lie. Can't possibly lie. Of course, discounting all those Catholic priests who were diddling their altar boys. Or those, religious figures who oppress and oust their children for wanting to leave the religion. I mean, not a lot of good precedents set by, in particular, Christians in America, but maybe that's neither here nor there. The one guy that shouldn't be giving an argument for God, I hope you can agree on that, unless you're also one of those MAGA people.
What is your favorite argument
Oh, no.
for God's existence and why?
So my favorite argument for God's existence is...
So my favorite argument for God's existence, and then he's just going to fucking go into a diatribe. It's going to last the majority of this.
that I believe in free will. Okay, the reason that I think this is an argument for God's existence is because if you...
So is it free will if you're not allowed to believe in other religions? And if we want to go like crazy, if I want to go the psychopath route, and if I want to say is it free will if I'm not allowed to kill? Doesn't seem like it. God made a law, you're not allowed to kill. Or I guess you can still kill, right? If you're not... Well, but if you're a devout Christian, then would you ever kill? Would you kill somebody? Like, would you ever get the urge to kill if you're a Christian, or would you just apologize about it later?
Believe that human beings are essentially just balls of meat wandering around aimlessly in the universe, the kind of Spinoza's stone that thinks that it was moving of its own accord but actually was thrown.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that nobody has ever used that argument. I certainly haven't. So I don't know why you're saying that hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, potentially billions of people, all think that way. It's weird.
If you believe that and you don't believe in free will, then there's an
He attached it under his breath, and you don't believe in free will.
internal coherence and logic to it. If you believe that you have the ability to make independent choices, that you can actually supersede your own biological drives and the environment around you to any extent, even to the smallest extent, this means that you believe in something that can't actually be proved by science, but that you are living every single day.
And all of that meant absolutely nothing. It was just a circular, like, listen to it.
It can't actually be proved by... that you have the ability to make...
If you believe that you have the ability to make independent choices, if you think that you have the ability to make independent choices, that you can actually supersede your biological drives and the environment around you to any extent. So if you think you can surpass your environment,
this means that you believe in something...
if you think you can surpass your environment, this means that you believe in something that can be proved by science
every single day.
And that you're proving every single day. That meant nothing. That was just words. He just went around and around and well, that wasn't even circular. It went nowhere. That was just a little bit of nothing.
And the notion that you have that will, and not only that you have that will, but that will is capable of comprehending the universe around you.
So if you can observe things, if you can comprehend the world around you, is so far the only thing he said in that paragraph.
Your will is sort of, your ideas, your ability to comprehend the universe is a reflection of a reality, of an objective truth that is out there.
What? Your ability to observe your surroundings is proof of an objective reality, or an objective truth.
That says to me that there is a God there's
That's all he said. And that's it. That was the end of his point. And then he said, that says there's a God. There you go. The crowd goes wild.
Common source that stands behind that objective truth and
What
stands
on
behind
earth?
the mind that can comprehend that truth.
What is your favorite?
That's what? The whole time he said nothing, and then that tells me there's a God. That is insane. I've never seen that clip before, but that is just so blatantly nothing. How saddening. Oh, Stephen Meyer on Piers Morgan. Ooh, science actually proves the existence of God. I gotta get more water. Oh, my throat is dry. Oh, dear God. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Hooray! Oh shit, it's already 11:44. We've been doing this for some time. I don't know that I necessarily had a game in mind for today. Didn't really think about it. But we could transition into that. Maybe something cash. Soup's cash. I'm gonna have to change the goddamn titles. Oy, 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 oy. We'll go for Tavern Keeper. Just do it like hour and a half, 2 hours of that. And that'll be a nice round stream, I'd say. Sorry if the subject change is not to your liking, LBC, but the tavern calls. I just burped. And it was unpleasant. But you know, life goes on. Oh blah dee, oh blah da. Life goes on. Haven't everything. So I can what are we doing? Tavern Tuesday. Milady. And then hashtag Milady. Milady. Because it's funny. You know? It's funny. You gotta do funny things. Sometimes you gotta do funny things. Gaming. Tavern Keeper. Save. Bamalam. And then let's change the stream information on here. Milady. And I will put that into the Twitch thing. And put Tavern Keeper there. 7 viewers. Oh dear. Well, hopefully that guy with 7 viewers quits his stream sometime soon. And they're mine. 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 All right. Tavern Tuesday, milady. Hello, pulpit. So I'm going to just dive back into my campaign bar, my campaign tavern. It's starting to get respectable, and I'm running it like I would run my own restaurant. We even have a very fancy toilette, if you will, and I will. Dear God, will I? What? I just blacked out. So yeah, if you're just joining, I think my stream probably got re-indexed, which is a good sign. But hello and welcome, and please do the following thing. I'm gonna turn that part of the canvas off. Or wait, people probably still want to see. Yeah, because I think it's still difficult to see the chat occasionally. People don't see the chat messages. I'm not sure if that's still going on, but I'd rather you be able to see the stream than not be able to see the stream. Or see the chat in the stream. You get what I'm saying. Don't fucking at me. Okay, no, I think we're doing good. Unless you got... Oh, brown bread. I will take 2 of those, actually. And we'll run lean on beer. Because I don't want to go under $100. Because we got that inspector coming. Oh, dear God, we got the inspector coming. I don't like it. I think my armpits might be sweating. I take ADHD meds. In case any of you all are neurodivergent, you're among friends. But I'm just making sure that I'm not sweating through my shirt. Nope, we're good. We're good. I did put on deodorant today. Just a quick stealth check. Not suffering from hyperhidrosis, just paranoia. It's funny to me.
Dorothy sweeps into the tavern with the same appraising air she displayed on her first visit. The amenities which meet her
I think this was the person.
you hand over the gold in a single large sack. She juggles it in her hand briefly, listening to the sound.
This is the person that tried to give me the permit.
The Tavern Keepers Guild has a very high bar. Literally, it's high enough for Superb. It's all very simple, really. You will answer 3 questions about the nature of taverns and how they run. If you pass, you are granted membership. If you fail, Dorothy gives you a frown so severe.
Yeah. Harsh but fair. I already know how to run this place. Come on.
Question 1. Something simple to start with. A tavern is no place for rude children. They must be ruthlessly weeded from the
A dwarf and a child wearing a fake beard.
and a child wearing a fake beard apart.
I mean, I would ask them for beard oil recommendations.
As you have shrewdly observed, most children do not have beards and so are not well versed in their care. She marks your answer and flips to the next page. Moving on. Question 2. Which of the following services is not guild approved? Child catapulting, distribution of shrinking potions, or basilisk stabling?
Well, I see a small person there, and then they talked about punting children earlier, so it's got to be basilisks.
Quite so. Not only is it hard to hire help when word gets out that employees keep turning to stone, but carting them away afterward is an incredible hassle. She makes a tick on her notepad. Lastly, a question of jurisprudence.
Thorvak versus the Foggy Sailor. Was the judge correct in voiding the plaintiff's privilege to adjudicate beverage consumption and to adjudicate? Wait, what?
Beverage consumption and declaring all patrons
Free to spend their coin as they
their
fit.
coin as they see fit in recreational businesses.
Correct in voiding the plaintiff's privilege to adjudicate. So they kicked him out? Right? Voiding the plaintiff's privilege to adjudicate beverage consumption. That means, like, you can't go in and get beverages. Wait, what? To void that?
Very interesting. Finally, somebody willing to stand up and say what they believe. Legal precedent be damned. Perhaps the guild. You passed. You are a fully licensed.
I'm fully licensed, and here we go. We're good. I win, and it is... I win. I win. Did I win? I win. I won. I'm fairly certain I won. I won. I win. I win the game. I'm the best. Okay, what now?
As a member of a powerful guild, your future is all but assured. What new doors might this open?
The next map.
See.
It'll open the next map. What do I do? Am I done? Do I leave? I win. I've won.
As a registered member of the Tavern Keepers Guild, the world is your oyster. Or perhaps your growler?
Perhaps your growler. Wait, what? Why did I use that accent? Weird.
You to better climes. Your story is only just beginning.
How do I paste? No. I'm trying to... Oh, here we go. Shabam! Shabam. Okay, maybe that's... It's not how you do it. Gosh darn it. Dag burn it. Stop. Don't be barking. Don't be Ellen barking. Oh my gosh. Ita. Shh. Guys. Shh. Guys. Shh. Guys. Shh. Guys. Shh. Shushing always works, you know? Don't ask me why. Don't ask me how, but it actually doesn't always work. It actually rarely works. Keeping so many taverns. Well, just one right now. But really, really keeping it. Did it kick me out to the main screen? What? No. What? What? I think I'm probably just good to start the next one then. Oh my god. Mortadella, sopressada, meatball, half hot pepper, half roasted red pepper. Stop booting me! Oh, okay. The next one? Yes. Yeah. Yes. What? What? You're receiving plenty of the video. It says we're not receiving enough video. Please stop. Crazies. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, man. Sorry, I just saw an Instagram post of a sandwich that looks really delicious. Oh, Danny boy, that sandwich is calling delicious. I want it. I want it. I want it in my belly. Deep within me. All right. What is this? Oh, those are the... Okay, challenges. Okay. Oh, God. Spoil rate, fine. Bankruptcy, like... I don't know. I know that the timeline is all kind of scrunched for this game, but I also kind of feel like even in real life, the scale of how long it takes for your business to go under is like way pushed out. It's a lot longer than people think it is. Taking 2 days sounds like it should be like that. And we'll say that the average gratuity is 10%, and we'll go up to like 7% sales tax. And people tend to be more patient than they are in this game. I don't care about much of that. And all of that looks fine to me. Can I do the scenario? I feel like this was intended to be a mobile game.
It's another beautiful day in Halflington as you arrive.
Is how that makes me feel.
New tavern. There's no rot or slime, and it's even partially furnished. What luck! That's odd. The staff room furniture is badly burned. Must have been a fire. Nothing to worry about, I'm sure. You've done this bit before, of course. Setting up to open for business.
Why is the stream health so bad?
Just follow the list.
Weird. So far as I know, I'm not really using anything that's like intensive. What did you want me to do? I missed everything. I missed everything he just said. Oh boy. I've got myself in some trouble again. Oh. What? Anywho. Alright, well. Poor quality stream. And I'll agree on only one of those fronts. I'll let you decide which. What? Alright, let's see if it reconnects. Is it better? Are we better? Is it feeling better? Stream health. Do you feel better? He feels better. The stream feels better. Alright. Well, it's Tavern Day. Today is a tavern type day. Okay, let's see. So this is kind of more of a spa-like thing is the kind of vibe that I get when I'm looking at this. I'll rebuild this shit. Well, come on, yeah, it's perfectly good stuff here. You know? Come on. For the ones that, you know, I guess we need, we just can't repair with money, then we'll just sick the employee on right away. But why was that supposed to be a hurdle to progress? I'm confused. Doesn't seem like one. No, sir. Alright, we need a tap room. I like that there's multiple rooms, but I also kind of don't like that. So is that a staff? Yeah, staff table. So there's already an established staff room. I don't need to worry about that. What the fudge? Bathrooms? I guess? Seem pretty equal in size. Let's see. Oh, I don't have that unlocked yet. So future bathrooms, I'm guessing, which means for now we're gonna have to have an outhouse, which seems people are gonna be coming in through there. Where the fuck? I really don't believe that an outhouse should be over here. Oh, well, it seems like there's a sort of an area for it. Whatever. I mean, if you're going to tell me to do it in a certain place, then I guess I will. Tuck it way back. All right. Toilette secured. And now we need the actual bar room, the tap room, which I guess will be here. Sure. Why not? Okay, so that's the... I hate those offset walls. It's so annoying. Sure. Also, let me put more tap room there, because that didn't get tap roomed. There we go. Okay. And then in here, please. Yeah. There you go. Beautiful decor item there. And then a tap. And you will go here. We'll go here. You will go. You will go here. You will go here. You will go here, or else, good sir. Wait. Where will the... Where's the walk-in and the kitchen and stuff gonna go? Actually, okay, this might be better, right? For... Wait, okay, so let me think about this practically. Okay, you come in, you're like, oh, you know, I'm coming in, I'm a patron, and I see a cool plate thing. I walk in, here's the, you know, let's imagine that this is like the host stand. And then they usher you to the bar for some drinks. Would it be straight through into there? Or would they tell you to take this path into here? I feel like this is all a dining room. I feel like this is just additional dining. So I don't even know. We may never even use that space. So I think choice good bar here. And perhaps setup different B maybe. There you go. Maybe setup B different maybe. But how different? Why? Let's go with... How many kegs can that fit? Can fit 2. Nope, can't fit 2. Oh, okay. Can't fit 2. So then, I just lost money on that. No, I didn't. Larder shelves? Could potentially fit 3. But really, what's the point, right? It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. So maybe... I'm trying to map out where I want my keg room to be. I mean, it doesn't really seem like a lot of this space is very good for that. Why don't they just exit here to go to the keg room? What else could this be? I mean, this has to be the larder. They're just, I can't see. I like the dimensions of this room as it is too much, and I can just extend the bar that way. So, yeah, so we will say this is the storeroom. The larder. And the skinnier. So just for now, keep it kind of small. And treat it the traditional way. Could you be more difficult? Could you be more difficult? Don't call me a larder. That's insulting. Is there... Can I fit 4 in there? No. 3 in a lamp. 3 in a lamp. 3 in a... You son of a... 3 in a... lantern. 3... Damn it. This game's showing me up. I guess, don't really need that right away, do we? No, sir. And we can probably get rid of that. We really don't keep that much on hand. Trying to live pretty truck to case here. And we're just going to make the bar look good right now. Two nice taps here, I guess. Put a spacer. No. Put another space. No. I bet you I could still probably serve people like that. Maybe not. Bar counter. And then a tap. Yep. Yep. And then a bar counter. And there you go. And I'll maybe extend the tap room just a little bit more. I think I'm being a little conservative here. Get it? That's kind of an inside joke. Subscribe to hear more inside jokes. All right, and then eventually we'll have another tap, but not right now. What I do want... Oh, I don't have money for goods. Fudgy now, fudgies. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, I want a table so bad. Well, we need beer. That's the big thing. Go for the biggest we can get. Buy my maximum. What is that? Fresh water? Do people like water? Is that a thing? You're crafting fresh water? Alright, well, so next time he comes around, he'll give me fresh water, I guess. I didn't know that was a thing. That probably wasn't a thing the last time. Alright. Server, yes. Yes! That's an automatic yes. Panic Eater? Hell yeah. You and me both, bud. I did assign a drink to the tap. And then open tavern, open tavern, open tavern, open tavern. I gotta put lights in there, don't I? Oh, God. Boo-da-boo-dee-oo. We're ready. I'm ready. Come on now. We're open. My nose itches. I'm gonna sneeze. I don't want to. I don't want to. All right. What's this one gonna be called? Oh my God. Tavern. Tavern. Good.
Open for business
That works.
once more. May your cozy new tavern under the hills soon
I like it.
be filled with cheer.
Tavern. Okay. I see. What? So what, what is this, what, I'm confused. Does this just, do people get water from the well?
Harvest
I'm very confused.
That means the annual harvest festival will be just around the corner. What a treat.
What does that mean? What is the attention? And throw rubbish in? Hilarious. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Oh, my allergies. I forgot to take an allergy pill. No. That's bad juju. I'm gonna be all sneezy. Sneezy and dopey. And sleepy. And grumpy. As a result of all of those. Oh, my nose is running too. Oh my gosh. I know how to speak that language. Move it. Okay. Put it right in here. I can move it closer though. Oh yeah. And which hours would be best for this? I would assume that halflings are pretty daytime bound, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we are already... We want our employee to work only 14 hours. Because they don't like working more than 14 hours. You gotta at least try to treat them well. Storybook. All right. Come on.
Hello there. I'm Glenda Seakeep, Mayor's liaison. The Mayor's office put together a wee gift basket to welcome you to the neighborhood. And just...
Yeah, gifts, okay.
Golly, it was a group effort, really. Glenda blushing.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, we're just so pleased you're... Oh, yes. Just a little fire. Nothing.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Right. So you burned the last place down. Thank you. Appreciate it. Paved the way for me. I'm happy. I'm happy to do it. Or happy to be here. Just get on to the...
Lovely. I can't wait to see your vision for this tavern.
Okay, Fire Lady. Thank you.
A kind soul, that Glenda. Not surprising she finds it hard to imagine anyone would be setting fires on purpose.
Yeah. How dare anyone? That's just messed up, you know. We will get away with selling that thing for a fucking pittance. Already making about $100. We can scale that back a little bit just to increase the customer satisfaction, I think. Yeah, man, that just seems like a bit of a distance, right? Of course it is. It's a distance there too. I get it. Okay. So would we keep water on pallets? Where would the water go? I guess on pallets. Okay. Oh. Does it not go to the... No, it does go. Okay, it goes in there. Do I have to use a tap for that? We are quickly needing a second employee here. Oh dear. No, I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna hold out. We're gonna save a little bit of money. Okay. All right. There's a bit of demand. We want good servers. And another... Oh, no, there's 2 beds. Okay, good. We can already accommodate this number of employees, so... Pretty scary. I like all the business. I like all the business. As soon as I get some money, I'll put a table down. Can that just fit there? No. Slanted though. You want as much real estate as you can get out of your dining room. Put them all the way to the back, leaves more room for the front. Oh my gosh. Jeremiah. Then as soon as we get enough for another bar counter, we'll put that in. Are we closed? Damn, dude. I thank you. I thank you. And thank you. And thank you. And thank you. And thank you. First night done. Bam. I'd call that easy peasy. You know, I think it's been a while. We haven't gotten any new viewers, so I'm going to go ahead and call it here. It's a good place to stop anyway. Tomorrow we'll be doing much of the same thing. Pretty much exactly the same thing. So yeah. Or, well, video games, I mean, not the religious or political stuff. That's only the first 2 days of the week. Okay, well, thank you very much. If you stuck around, thank you for joining. If you disagree, if you agreed, I don't matter.